welcome you all to the third National Hands-on Workshop Forensic Update 3 on DNA Sampling and Evidence in Forensic Medicine at Department of Forensic Medicine, AIIMS, Bhopal. This is the third workshop in series, succeeding the last workshop on forensic anthropology. The overwhelming response by the participants last year made us work more enthusiastically and earnestly. The result of which is that we have 32 delegates from all over the country with a wonderful zeal to learn and get enlightened in the subject. We welcome you all. Academic feast with our first lecture of the day. Our first speaker of the workshop will be Dr. Pankaj Srivastav sir. He is the DNA fingerprinting expert at DNA Unit State FSL Sagar, Madhya Pradesh, and he has examined more than 2,500 DNA cases. He is currently a training faculty in National Judicial Academy Bhopal, National Police Academy Hyderabad, NICFS Delhi, and Central Police Academy BPRD Bhopal. He has contributed a lot to the research pertaining to DNA extraction and analysis, and he will be speaking about the introduction to DNA sampling and its concept. Sir.
This particular workshop, we have our resource persons who are literally hand-picked. They are the chosen ones. They have been chosen from entire country as to who could really tell us what we want to know. So we would like you all to make use of this opportunity, and they have all been briefed that we can really ask a lot of questions, sometimes in English and sometimes in Hindi, and they are all well conversant with both the languages because they deal with this particular thing. And as Dr. Rao was telling me, he is now an advocate, and courts also take it in all ways, English and Hindi. There are different courts in different states. And our state, Madhya Pradesh, takes everything in Hindi. So all our autopsy reports, when we go to read them out or give our evidence, it all has to be changed into Hindi. So we also tend to know the basics of our stuff in English and in Hindi, and a little bit in Hindi, whatever is required in the court. So that much Hindi we all get used to, which is what some of our PGs learn when they come to Madhya Pradesh, from all the way from South or Kerala, where they're not used to Hindi being spoken so commonly, and then whatever they know to be spoken in Hindi. And the latest challenge for our PGs, Dr. Mahalakshmi, Dr. Shravan, and Dr. Dedipya, these are our three PGs who are attending with you, is to take what you have in whatever language suits you. If somebody has asked a question in Hindi and the reply is being given in Hindi, you want it in English, you have the right to propose that it be translated for you. Yeah? And I think our resource persons will make the effort to try and convey their point in either language if requested. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, so good morning to all of you. So let us begin some stuff of DNA. Respected seniors in the field and friends. Being from Madhya Pradesh, जो भी हम बात करेंगे वो ऐसी करेंगे कि communicate हो सके आपको. The main target is whatever I have, you must know. So I'll try to make everything passed in a correct manner. So I'm not able to see this. Can I speak from here? So from 2007 to 2016, if you have a look on the conviction rate, it is almost the same, which is 25%, somewhere around 25%. Okay. Now, have a look on this. That was the heading in Times of India in 2018. And this is the heading which I read on 28/1/15. Girls on attack, conviction rate 24, acquittal in rape 74%. Okay, so the same heading even after 3 years. So that means the scenario is not at all getting changed. Now what is the reason behind? The reason is you are not able to use the appropriate technology. The technology which is most appropriate, that should be used. Okay, so there is a technology like DNA which has full confidence, Now judiciary has full confidence on that, and questions are less by now, because there are means most of the these defense councils are not, sir will be agreeing with me, that most of the judicial these defense councils are still not aware with the technology. So that is the main reason behind why DNA reports are not going to be challenged, most of the DNA reports. Okay. So now we have set an example in Madhya Pradesh. There are more than 20 convictions by higher court because of DNA report only. So this is in 1 year, जो कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने अपनी स्पीच में कई जगह कोट किया है, लाल किले से भी, और जहाँ जहाँ वो स्पीच देते हैं कि इन MP the conviction rate is very high. Okay, so in all the major conferences of our country, this issue is being raised now. Okay, so why this is considered to be the most conclusive the technology for most conclusive identification? Before going through this, I used to say that this is God's signature. When you say that DNA profiling or DNA typing, what is the technology? So I say that this is a God's signature. If you sign on a paper, you can tear it, you can burn it, you can rub it. Okay, so there are n number of means by which you can destroy your signature. But once your body is created, no, until and as it is converted into ash, your DNA profile can be generated. Okay, so right now with the today's technology, until anything is converted into ash, only from that material you are not able to get DNA. Otherwise, from all the material it is possible to get DNA if the material is properly preserved, which is the most concerned part for you doctors. Okay, so the very important thing now is that you have a technology which can give you conclusive result, but the only thing is you are the first person to initiate the or to put the evidence for the analysis, and if that evidence is not properly preserved or forwarded to forensic laboratory, तो DNA expert कितना भी अच्छा हो, अगर हम उसको चैलेंज देंगे, जैसे एक एग्जांपल छोटा सा दूं आपको अपनी बात को रोक के, एक बॉडी है वो हमें आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए मिली और आपने उसका PM किया है. अब हमें मालूम है कि कहीं लिखा है कि टीथ अच्छा सोर्स है, कहीं लिखा है कि बोन अच्छा सोर्स है. हमारा जो अभी जो स्टडी मटेरियल अवेलेबल है ना, दैट इज नॉट प्रॉपर. आप अलग अलग बुक में अलग अलग मटेरियल आपको अच्छे कहीं मिल जाएंगे, क्योंकि ऑथर सब अलग अलग हैं, कोई भी कुछ भी बात कह रहा है. अब आपने कहीं पढ़ा कि टीथ इज गुड सोर्स ऑफ DNA. अब आप ये भी हो सकता है कि एक टीथ, ये मैं जो आपको बता रहा हूँ ये सब सुनी हुई बातें नहीं है, ये जो हम एक्सपीरियंस कर चुके हैं पिछले 12-13 साल में DNA करके, वो बता रहा हूँ आपको. एक केस में एक दांत आया DNA एग्जामिनेशन करने के लिए. एक दांत में DNA की क्वांटिटी बहुत कम होती है. अगर मान लीजिए प्रोसेसिंग के समय में, हम भी भगवान नहीं है, हमारे से गलती हो सकती है, मैनुअल एरर के चांस तो हमेशा होते हैं. मान लीजिए किसी कारणवश जिस ट्यूब में सैंपल प्रोसेस हो रहा है वो ब्रेक हो गई, व्हाट विल हैपन? यू डोंट हैव अदर सैंपल टू प्रोसेस, यू डोंट हैव, बिकॉज जो सैंपल आपके पास आया था दैट वाज ओनली अ सिंगल टीथ. तो अगर हमारे पास पूरी बॉडी अवेलेबल है, देन व्हाई टू गो फॉर वन टीथ ओनली? देयर शुड बी फ्यू टीथ, 3-4 टीथ. वन टीथ एंड वन हेयर इज गुड एनफ फॉर DNA. बट दिस नेवर मीन्स कि वी शुड पोज अ चैलेंज टू एक्सपर्ट कि तुम करके दिखाओ. ये कुछ बात ऐसी हो गई कि मैं तो एक दांत भेज रहा हूं, आप करके दिखाओ, कुछ इस तरीके की बात हो जाती है. सो हमें ये बात ध्यान रखनी है कि व्हेन वी हैव अ गुड क्वांटिटी ऑफ मटेरियल, तो हम ये मान के चलें कि एग्जामिनर से भूल चूक हो सकती है. भूल चूक मतलब काम में नहीं होती, वो प्रोसेस इतनी परफेक्ट है कि उसमें काम में भूल नहीं हो सकती. बट अगर मशीन में चलते समय ट्यूब ही टूट गई या किसी कारण से सैंपल गिर गया, देन यू डोंट हैव डिफरेंट सैंपल. फिर आपको जो प्रोसेस है सैंपल की रिक्वेस्ट करने की, दैट इज थ्रू SP. फिर SP को जाएगा, फिर कोर्ट को जाएगा, फिर देन कोर्ट विल डायरेक्ट फॉर रीसैम्पलिंग. सो अगेन इट विल टेक लॉट ऑफ टाइम. Okay, so this thing you should keep in mind कि wherever you have a good amount of sample, अगर आप टिश्यू की भी बात करें तो जो आपसे डिस्कस करेंगे वो बताएंगे कितना टिश्यू लगता है. पर अगर आप ये समझें कि एक स्पून फुल मटेरियल भी, लेमन्स लैंग्वेज में अगर हम टिश्यू है तो आप एक स्पून फुल मटेरियल भी होता है, दैट इज गुड एनफ टू जनरेट DNA प्रोफाइल. उसमें से भी हम लोग उसका कुछ मिलीमीटर का पोर्शन लेते हैं. आज की टेक्नोलॉजी जो है DNA की, वी डोंट टेक इवन इतना ज्यादा सैंपल भी, हम इतना छोटा सा जो सैंपल होगा ना वो भी हम लेंगे और उससे जनरेट कर लेंगे DNA प्रोफाइल. बट द सैंपल शुड बी सफिशिएंट. ओके, सो आप किसी भी चीज को नष्ट कर सकते हैं, राख में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं। और लेकिन आप जो गॉड का साइन है विच इज योर बॉडी वंस क्रिएटेड, दैट कैन नॉट बी, उससे ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं होगा जिससे आप प्रोफाइल जनरेट ना कर सकें। ओके, जैसे हम लोग अपने काम की चीजें अपने आप में ढूंढते हैं तो हर आदमी अपने काम में पिग हेडेड हो जाता है, आप भी हो जाते हैं, मैं भी हूं। ये एक फैमिली हमारे साथ ट्रेवल की थी, भोपाल स्टेशन की फोटो है, हमारे साथ ट्रेवल किया था। आप देखिए, हम भी कोशिश करते हैं देखने की कि इज देयर सम फेशियल सिमिलरिटी। आप ये देखिए, मदर डॉटर और फादर और सन, देयर इज सिमिलरिटी इन फेस। ओके, जब ये बच्चा भी बड़ा होगा तो बिल्कुल ऐसा ही होगा बड़ा होके। ये दूसरा एग्जांपल, ही इज गुड फ्रेंड ऑफ माइंड, प्रोफेसर महेंद्र कुमार गुप्ता, ही इज इन जेबाजी यूनिवर्सिटी, हेड ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट इन माइक्रोबायोलॉजी। ये उनकी बच्ची है, आप ये देखिए, यू विल फाइंड फेशियल सिमिलरिटी। ओके, सो दोज हु आर बायोलॉजिकली रिलेटेड दे हैव सम सिमिलरिटीज। अब आप अगर आंख बंद करके सोचें रिगार्डिंग योर फैमिली, आपका बच्चा, आपके माता पिता, आपके मामा, कहीं ना कहीं से आपको बच्चा इवन पैदा होता है जिसने कुछ भी नहीं देखा होता, तभी भी ये कहा जाता है कि बच्चा नानी से गया है, माँ पे गया है, दादा पे गया है, किसी से मिलता है। Okay, so what is the reason behind? There is some material which is getting passed. Okay, and what is that? That is DNA. Okay, so the process by which something चीज में हम सिमिलरिटी करते हैं तो तुलनात्मक रूप से देखते हैं ये कितना और ये कितना एक समान है। ओके, बट जो डीएनए टेक्नोलॉजी है इसका नेचर कंक्लूसिव क्यों है? बिकॉज वट एवर इज देयर और वट एवर इज प्रेजेंटेड बाय यूजिंग द टेक्नोलॉजी दैट इज 100% कॉन्क्रीट, देयर इज नो फ्लॉ। लाइक अगर हम ये कहेंगे कि दिस पर्टिकुलर चाइल्ड इज मैचिंग विथ फादर एंड मदर, देन वी विल से दैट दिस चाइल्ड इज मैचिंग ऑन 100% पॉइंट विथ फादर एंड मदर। Okay, so there won't be anything in a child's profile which is either not there in father or it is not there in mother. There won't be anything. Okay, so on every point child takes one from father and one from mother. Okay, so on everywhere you can see this is child's profile. On every point there will be two numbers and one number will be from father and the other one number will be from mother. Okay, and there is one sex determining marker which is said to be amylogenin. तो इस मार्कर को देख के हम ये असेस करते हैं कि ये जो जिसका भी प्रोफाइल वी आर जनरेटिंग वो मेल है या फीमेल है। ओके, एनी डाउट बाय नाउ? ओके, आप लोग अगर इंटरेक्ट करेंगे तो ज्यादा बेहतर अप्रिशिएट कर पाएंगे चीजों को। तो अगर आपको किसी भी
आइडेंटिफिकेशन में 100%
डीएनए से, हाँ हाँ, 100% सेक्स आइडेंटिफिकेशन। ओके, हाँ श्योरिटी है, लेकिन इसमें अभी कुछ केसेस हमारे यहाँ भी मिले हैं और कुछ पहले से रिपोर्ट भी हैं कि ये जो एमाइलोजेनिन मार्कर है इसमें एमिल डिलीशन भी होता है। मतलब कुछ मेल हैं जिनकी प्रोफाइल एक्स आती है। इसी कारण अब जो न्यू जनरेशन किट्स हैं, ये जो मैं आपको रिजल्ट दिखा रहा हूँ ये 15 मार्कर पे एनालिसिस है। अभी मैं आपको कुछ समय बाद वो चीज दिखाऊंगा कि एमाइलोजेनिन डिलीशन क्या होता है और उसके कारण भी ऐसा हो सकता है कि आपको किसी मेल की प्रोफाइल एक्स मिले। देयर आर इंसिडेंसेस, बट यस नाउ वी हैव डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ किट्स where you have already there are certain autosomal STR marker, then amylogenin, then you have certain more Y markers. Okay, so अगर आपका एमाइलोजेनिन में Y deletion है भी, so there are certain Y markers, 2 to 3 Y markers which can be amplified. So by seeing a profile, at least you can conclusively say that this is profile of male or female with today's technology. It was not possible earlier. Like अगर आप इसमें देखेंगे, so other than amylogenin there is no marker for sex determination. But now the kits which we are using right now, those kits have 2 or 3 Y markers as well.
सर जो डिलीशन हो रहा है जैसे एपिनोजेनिन में XY बेस पेयर प्रोटीन का डिफरेंस होता है, जाते मुझे एपिनोजेनिन X का 102 एंड 108 बेस पेयर डिफरेंस होता है। तो सिंगल सेल में डिलीशन हुआ कि ओवरऑल डिलीशन? जैसे आपके पास जितना सैंपल है, सिंग आपने जो लिया सैंपल वहां पे एपिनोजेनिन X Y का डिफरेंस है या डिलीशन हो गया, समझ लीजिए Y नहीं मिला, बेस पेयर प्रोटीन नहीं मिली वो सैंपल। लेकिन अगर
आपका प्रश्न समझ गया मैं, आप ये पूछने चाह रहे हैं कि सिर्फ उसी सेल में होगा कि दूसरे सेल में भी हो सकता है। ओके ओके, गॉट योर पॉइंट। इसमें क्या है, अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं जेनेटिक्स की। जेनेटिक्स का अगर हम बेसिस समझेंगे तो कोई भी बॉडी, आई विल एक्सप्लेन दिस क्वेश्चन विथ माय नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। लेट दैट स्लाइड कम, फिर आपको मैं वो बात समझाता हूँ। ओके, सो व्हाई व्हाट इज डीएनए फिंगरप्रिंटिंग? इसका फुल फॉर्म सबसे पहले समझना जरूरी है। एटलीस्ट जो टेक्नोलॉजी हम यूज कर रहे हैं उसका नाम याद रखें मोटे तौर पे। दिस इज डीऑक्सीराइबोन्यूक्लिक एसिड। ये कुछ इस तरीके का स्ट्रक्चर होता है, हेलिक्स नुमा स्ट्रक्चर है, जैसे सीढ़ी जो स्टेयर लैडर होती है उस तरीके का स्ट्रक्चर है और बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक है लाइफ का। और इसके स्ट्रक्चर को यू कैन कंपेयर विथ चेन। आपने चेन बंद कर दी तो बहुत स्ट्रेंथ्स विल बी फ्री, और चेन बंद कर देंगे तो स्ट्रेंथ्स जो है वो कंबाइन हो जाएंगे। किसी का भी डीएनए हो, लेट इट बी फ्रॉम माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म, फ्रॉम ह्यूमन, फ्रॉम एनी एनिमल, फ्रॉम एनी प्लांट, दैट मीन्स किसी भी लिविंग क्रिएचर का आप अगर डीएनए की बात करेंगे तो सभी का जो डीएनए है दैट इज मेड अप ऑफ ACGT। सिर्फ 4 लेटर्स है जिनसे सभी का डीएनए बनता है। ओके, अब सभी का डीएनए अगर इन्हीं 4 लेटर से बनता है देन व्हाई देयर इज सो मच वेरिएशन? कि अभी हमने आपको एक बात बताई थी कि अगर आप आंख बंद करके सोचें कि आप अपने माता पिता से या भाई बहन से समानता रखते हैं तो यस, वी डू हैव सिमिलैरिटी। ओके, बट अगर हम अपने ही बगल वाले को देखें जिसके बगल में आप बैठे हैं तो आपको एक ह्यूज डिफरेंस दिखेगा। आप स्किन कलर में देखेंगे तो देयर इज ह्यूज वेरिएशन। किसी की स्किन डार्क कलर्ड है, किसी की बहुत लाइट कलर्ड है। कोई इतना सफेद होता है कि आपको लगेगा कि इसको ऐसा कर दें तो वो लाल पड़ जाए उसकी स्किन, ऐसे भी हैं, और कोई बिल्कुल डार्क भी है। ओके, सो एक वाइड रेंज है और इन सब चीजों का रिलेशन जेनेटिक्स से है। कोई कोई आपको ऐसा बुजुर्ग दिखेगा जिसके बाल नहीं गए हैं, कोई आपको ऐसा भी बुजुर्ग दिखेगा जिसके मतलब यंग एज का दिखेगा जिसके बाल है नहीं। ओके, सो ऑल दीज कैरेक्टर्स आर जेनेटिकली इनहेरिटेड। ओके, सो अब इन 4 ही लेटर से होने के बाद वेरिएशन क्यों है? उस वेरिएशन का रीजन समझने के लिए आप एक सिंपल एग्जांपल देखें। ये एक सीक्वेंस है और ये एक सीक्वेंस है न्यूक्लियोटाइड का। ये फर्क बात कह रहा है, ये फर्क बात कह रहा है, मतलब अलग अलग सीक्वेंस है और इनकी मीनिंग जेनेटिकली उतनी ही डिफरेंट होगी जैसे कि इस एग्जाम्पल की। ये भी 4 लेटर्स के रीअरेंजमेंट है, पोस्ट, स्टॉप, पॉट, स्टॉप्स, ओनली रीअरेंजमेंट ऑफ लेटर एंड यू हैव ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट मीनिंग ऑफ द वर्ड। ओके, तो एक ही उन्हीं 4 लेटर से बने हुए जब 4 वर्ड अलग अलग हैं तो ऐसा कॉम्बिनेशन डिफरेंट होता है डीएनए से, जिससे आप अलग अलग आदमी को इंडिविजुअलाइज कर सकते हैं, किसी भी इंडिविजुअल को। ओके, अगर हम इसकी फिंगरप्रिंट से कंपैरिजन करना चाहें तो फिंगरप्रिंट जो है वो काफी पुरानी डिस्कवरी है, 1930 की। इट इज ओनली ऑन फिंगर टिप्स, इट कैन बी अल्टर्ड बाय सर्जरी एंड मूवीज में आपने देखा होगा, पुरानी मूवीज में, आजकल तो आइडियाज बदल गए हैं कि ग्लव्स पहन के अपराध किए जा रहे हैं तो फिर नहीं आ रहे हैं फिंगरप्रिंट। ऐसी कुछ चीजें हैं जिनसे फिंगरप्रिंट को छुपाया जा सकता है। नाउ प्लीज डोंट मिस इंटरप्रेट विथ दिस स्टेटमेंट। अब हम कंपेयर कर रहे हैं फिंगरप्रिंट विथ डीएनए फिंगरप्रिंट, तो इसको ऐसा मिस इंटरप्रेट नहीं करिएगा कि फिंगरप्रिंट काम के नहीं है। फिंगरप्रिंट इज वेरी कंक्लूसिव टेक्नोलॉजी और किसी भी 2 इंडिविजुअल के फिंगरप्रिंट सेम नहीं होते। फिंगरप्रिंट होने के बाद भी वाई वी नीडेड अ डिफरेंट टेक्नोलॉजी, एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी, क्योंकि हमारे पास इस चीज की स्किल आज भी नहीं है। 20 साल डिपार्टमेंट में काम करने के बाद मेरा ये निष्कर्ष है, इस चीज का स्किल हमारे पास आज भी नहीं है कि हम चांस प्रिंट को लिफ्ट कर लें प्रॉपर तरीके से। अगर होम मिनिस्टर के घर के सामने कोई घटना हो जाती है उसका चांस प्रिंट लिफ्ट हो जाता है, बट अगर वही घटना गांव में या दूर दराज में किसी अनइंपॉर्टेंट आदमी के साथ होती है उसका चांस प्रिंट लिफ्ट होता नहीं है। चांस प्रिंट लिफ्ट नहीं होता तो आप इस सैंपल से मैच नहीं कर सकते। सो दिस इज द बेसिक रीजन बिहाइंड कि ये इतना पुरानी और अच्छी और एस्टेब्लिश टेक्नोलॉजी होने के बाद भी व्हाई दिस टेक्नोलॉजी इज नॉट very popular and it is not being very properly in different criminal cases. Now if you talk about DNA, it is same for every cell, every organ, every body. Okay, क्योंकि बॉडी हमारी सेल से बनी है तो हर सेल, अब आपके क्वेश्चन का आंसर आपको अगली स्लाइड में मिल जाएगा कि हमारी बॉडी जो है वो सेल से बनी है और हर सेल में डीएनए है जो कि एक सा है। ओके, अब वो एक सा क्यों है, किस तरीके से फॉर्मेशन है बॉडी का? फ्रॉम फादर, आप हम लोग ये बात से सहमत हैं कि एक नंबर ऑफ क्रोमोसोम है दैट इज फिक्स्ड इन एवरी ऑर्गेनिज्म। तो फादर इज हैविंग 46 क्रोमोसोम, मदर इज हैविंग 46 क्रोमोसोम, एग में 23 हो गया, स्पर्म में 23 हो गया, और जब यहां जाइगोट फॉर्म हुआ तब इसमें 46 क्रोमोसोम हो गया। ओके, नाउ दिस सिंगल सेल गेट्स कन्वर्टेड इनटू दिस पर्टिकुलर चाइल्ड। दिस इज द सिंगल सेल which is developed from having 50% genetic material from father, 50% genetic material from mother. So in a span of 9 months, this single cell gets converted into this particular child. Okay. Now what this means, that whatever genetic material is there in this child is derived from the same cell, which is having 50% contribution from father and 50% contribution from mother. Okay. Agreed? Now, what this means clearly, that either you generate a DNA profile from this single cell, or you generate DNA profile from any of the cell of this individual, जो कि हम ही है काफी साल पुराने के, तो आपको सेम डीएनए प्रोफाइल मिलेगी. कब तक? जब तक दिस बॉडी इज नॉट कन्वर्टेड इनटू एश. Okay, so you take any material from this body, you will be having the same DNA profile. Got it? आपके क्वेश्चन का आंसर मिल गया. So every cell has the same DNA जो भी बॉडी में है. Okay. Now on the basis of this whole story, we derive two conclusions, which are the basis of DNA typing, जो कि different criminal cases में use होते हैं. Only two bases are there. Genome of each individual is unique, with the exception of identical twins. Now ये जो exemption था, ये भी अब खत्म हो गया है. 2015 के बाद there are many research which say कि अब आप जो मोनोजाइगोटिक ट्विंस हैं उनको भी डिफरेंशिएट कर सकते हैं by using DNA technology. There are many papers on that. Though we don't have facility right now, but yes, it can be differentiated. तो DNA का एक ही लेकुना था जो खत्म हो चुका है. Okay. So what this statement means, that no two persons have the same DNA profile. तो चाहे मर्डर का केस हो, चाहे रेप का केस हो, उसमें ये वाला जो प्रिंसिपल है वो काम आता है कि हर आदमी का डीएनए प्रोफाइल जो है वो यूनिक होता है. एग्रीड? ओके. नाउ जीनोम इज इनहेरिटेड फ्रॉम पेरेंट्स. ये जो प्रिंसिपल है ये काम आता है इन द एस्टेब्लिशमेंट ऑफ पैटर्निटी. अगर आपको पैटर्निटी एस्टेब्लिश करनी है, सो एज ऑल द चाइल्ड्स विल हैव the genetic material contribution 50% from father and 50% from mother, so any child can be identified if you have the sample, reference sample of father and mother. Okay. DNA is unique in every organism. It can easily be obtained from a variety of substrate. All the body cells would have same DNA and it does not change during lifetime. एक बार जो बॉडी में आ गया, बॉडी का साइज बढ़ेगा, सेल्स का साइज बढ़ेगा, सेल्स बढ़ेंगी, मल्टीप्लिकेशन होगा और बॉडी एक एडल्ट में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगी. आदमी बुढ़ा हो जाएगा, मर जाएगा, उसकी हड्डी मिलेगी, उसमें भी डीएनए वही होगा जो एक सिंगल सेल में था. ओके. ये वो मटेरियल हैं जिनसे हम लोग डीएनए आइसोलेट कर चुके हैं. ये एक बात आप और ध्यान देंगे, हम आपको जो भी बातें बता रहे हैं, हम या कोई भी, वो जो हम लोग आपको बताएंगे वो सब बात बुक की ली हुई नहीं होगी. ये सब हम लोगों के एक्सपीरियंस का एक्सट्रैक्ट है. ये भी जो आप देख रहे हैं ये सारे वो केसेस हैं जो हमने किए हुए हैं अपनी लैब में. सो ब्लड और ब्लड स्टेन्स, सीमेन और सीमेन स्टेन्स, सलाइवा स्टेन्स, यूरिन और डाइट स्टेन्स, हेयर, सिंगल हेयर विथ रूट, नेल स्क्रैपिंग, टीथ, बोन और पीस ऑफ टीथ, स्कल विदाउट टीथ, other skeletal material, tissue or visceral cells, fetus or product of conception, single burnt spot of blood. मतलब अगर आप आल्पिन आप जानते हैं, आल्पिन का जो नुकीला वाला हिस्सा होता है जिससे आप गड़ा सकते हैं हाथ पे, अगर उतना बड़ा भी ब्लड सैंपल है तो आज की जो डीएनए टेक्नोलॉजी है, पावर टू जनरेट प्रोफाइल फ्रॉम इवन दैट टाइनी अमाउंट ऑफ सैंपल. दिस मच पोटेंशियल द टेक्नोलॉजी हैज नाउ. Okay, so this is an elaborative list of different kind of samples. These are a range and variety of samples tested from forensic analysis. इसमें भी सारे जितने भी हम लोगों ने अभी आज तक किए हैं, जितनी वैरायटी के, ये मैं आपको दे दूंगा ताकि ये आपका एज रेफरेंस होगा कि किस सैंपल से आप एक बार इसको पढ़ लेंगे तो आपको याद रहेगा कि इसमें ऐसी कोई चीज़ नहीं है जो आपको स्पॉट से मिली हो और आप उसको प्रिजर्व करें और उससे डीएनए प्रोफाइल ना आ सके. ऐसा कोई भी चीज़ नहीं है. मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस whenever we go for forensic analysis, the main array of this forensic laboratory is biology and serological examination. Okay, so what is done in biology and serology? There are certain questions. Number one question, whether there is presence of these material, blood, semen or saliva. Okay, if at all there is presence of these material, then what is the origin? And if origin is human, then what is the group? These are the main three questions which are asked by biological or serological examination. Okay, and if there is occurrence of hair, like कोई मरा है उसके हाथ में बाल हैं या किसी स्पॉट पे बाल पड़े हुए मिले हैं, then investigator want to know that to whom these hairs belong. तो similarity के लिए चाहे accused का सैंपल आएगा चाहे victim का सैंपल आएगा, और they want to know that whether these two hairs match or not. Okay, now one by one we will see कि एक एक जो मटेरियल है ये तीनों चारों, इनका क्या फेट होता है उसके बाद एग्जामिनेशन में. Now the very first examination about blood origin. So blood found positive, origin is human, and many a times group may not be determined. Okay, so in more than 60-70% cases there is finding that in most of the cases blood group is not determined. So if your blood group is not determined, then the purpose of examination is defeated. बिकॉज हमने अगर लेबोरेटरी ने ये रिपोर्ट दी कि इसमें ब्लड ग्रुप एग्जामिन नहीं हुआ तो वो केस तो खत्म हो गया. मैचिंग के लिए आया था कि जिस आरोपी ने मारा है, जिस चाकू से मारा है, क्या उस पर ब्लड है और मरने वाले का ब्लड है. दिस वाज द क्वेश्चन. एंड व्हाट फॉरेंसिक लैब रिपोर्टेड कि यस देयर इज प्रेजेंस ऑफ ब्लड, बट वी कांट से दैट ब्लड बिलोंग टू विच ग्रुप. दिस वी कैन नॉट से. ओके, सो ये ओपिनियन का कुछ वर्थ हुआ क्या? कोई वर्थ नहीं है. And this I don't know you know or not, but in most of the cases, like अगर 100 केस अगर होते होंगे तो 100 में से 90 केस इसी एनालिसिस से होके गुजरते हैं. आज की डेट में भी हमारा ये नॉलेज होने के बाद भी, डीएनए टेक्नोलॉजी का ये अप्रिशिएशन होने के बाद भी, आज भी मोर देन 90 केसेस गो फॉर दिस एनालिसिस. ओके, सो दिस इज वन सिनेरियो वेयर यू आर नॉट गेटिंग ब्लड ग्रुप. दिस इज वन सिनेरियो. नाउ इफ यू गेट ब्लड ग्रुप, इवन देन व्हाट पर्पस दिस विल सॉल्व. अगर हम ये कहें कि यहाँ पे ब्लड पड़ा हुआ है और उसका ब्लड ग्रुप हमने डिटरमाइन भी कर लिया, तो मान लीजिए उसका ब्लड ग्रुप आया बी. अब हमने पूछा यहाँ से रूम में कितने लोगों का ब्लड ग्रुप बी है, बताएंगे कितने लोग बी हैं? बी ग्रुप के लोग ब्लड इतने सारे लोग हैं. ओके, सो कैन वी पिन पॉइंट अ पर्सन? नो. सो फॉर व्हाट पर्पस दिस टेक्नोलॉजी कैन बी यूज्ड? वी कैन से कि जिन्होंने हाथ नहीं उठाया है, जिनका ब्लड ग्रुप बी नहीं है, दोज पर्सन्स कैन बी एक्सक्लूडेड. ओके, सो दिस सॉल्व्स ओनली दिस पर्पस. ठीक है, बट अगेन इफ यू वांट टू पिन पॉइंट अ पर्सन टू whom दिस ब्लड सैंपल बिलोंग, सो यू डोंट हैव एनी आंसर. ओके, नाउ यू टॉक अबाउट रेप केस. यू विल गेट ओपिनियन ह्यूमन स्पर्मेटोजोआ प्रेजेंट. सोर्स ऑफ स्पर्मेटोजोआ, इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल विद दिस एनालिसिस. मैचिंग विथ एक्यूज, नॉट पॉसिबल. How many persons raped that girl? Even this is not possible, क्योंकि स्पर्मेटोजोआ तो एक आदमी का और दूसरे आदमी का एक सही होगा. उसको स्पर्मेटोजोआ देख के you cannot decipher कि कितने लोगों का इसमें सीमेन है. This nobody can decipher. Now if you go for saliva examination, ये कहाँ पे होता है? जैसे कहीं पे सिगरेट या बीड़ी का स्टब मिला हुआ है स्पॉट पर कहीं पे. Is there any problem? ओके, सो गॉट दिस पॉइंट. अगर हम किसी को इंडिविजुअलाइज करना चाहें, सो आपके पास अगर ग्रुप आ भी जाएगा, सो यू कैन नॉट डू दिस. नाउ इफ यू गो फॉर हेयर एग्जामिनेशन, सो ओरिजिन ऑफ हेयर यू कैन डिसाइफर, इट्स कट और रूटेड यू कैन डिसाइफर, दे आर सिमिलर, यू कैन हैव दिस सजेस्टेड ओपिनियन ऑल्सो. बट इफ यू वांट टू नो कि हेयर बिलोंग टू विक्टिम और अक्यूज, ये भी पॉसिबल नहीं है. अब अगर हम इस एग्जामिनेशन को मोटे तौर पे एक लेमैन के जैसे देखें, तो आप अपना बाल ऐसा खींच के एक उखाड़िए और लाइट की तरफ देखिए. क्या आप बता सकते हैं कि उसमें रूट है या नहीं? हाँ या नहीं? बता सकते हैं. ओके, और हम इसके लिए केस भेजते हैं फॉरेंसिक लेबोरेटरी में. ओके, अब अगर हम बाल को उखाड़ा हुआ है हमने, क्या हम ये बता सकते हैं कि वो कट है कि नहीं है, रूटेड है और कट है? बता सकते हैं. ये एग्जामिनेशन भी हमें फॉरेंसिक लेबोरेटरी से मिलता है. ओके, तो हम क्या नहीं बता सकते कि वो हेयर किसका है. नाउ इफ यू वांट टू नो कि जो भी हम फोरेंसिक एग्जामिनेशन करते हैं, तो अगर हम ब्रॉडली देखें, पहले ये था कुछ चीजें ऐसी होती हैं ना जो कस्टमरी होते जाती हैं और हम देखते जाते हैं. उसमें ये होता था पहले आमतौर पर अगर आपको कहीं बड़े बाल मिले, इतना लंबा बाल मिले, तो हम कहते हैं ये लड़की का है, कह सकते हैं ना. अगर आपको छोटा बाल मिले इस साइज का, इतना बड़ा, तो हम कहेंगे, उसको देख के ही कह सकते हैं कि ये मेल का है. पर ये धारणा अब बदल गई है, क्योंकि आज आपको इसका उल्टा सिनेरियो भी देखने मिलता है. आपको कुछ लड़के मिलेंगे जिनकी चोटी है और कुछ लड़कियां मिलेंगी जिनके बाल कटे हुए हैं. ओके, तो अब वो डिफरेंशिएशन आज की डेट में तो पॉसिबल नहीं है कि हम बाल की लेंथ से ये बता पाएं कि वो ह्यूमन है कि मेल है कि फीमेल है। ओके, बट अगर आप फिर भी इंडिविजुअलाइज करना चाहें तो यू वोंट बी हैविंग एनी आंसर बाय यूजिंग एनी अदर टेक्नोलॉजी। ओके, कैसा केस जो आप लोग और हमारे बीच में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट क्रिएट करता है। आप लोग ये जानते हैं कि ये आप लोगों ने पढ़ा भी होगा, आप लोग करते भी होंगे फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन में, कि कोई भी स्कल या कोई भी बोन आपको मिल रही तो आप उससे एज डिटरमाइन करते हैं, उसका सेक्स डिटरमाइन करते हैं। ये तो आप लोग करते हैं, आप लोगों को शायद उसका स्किल है ही डेवलप। बट आई लेट यू नो अबाउट दिस केस जिसमें एकदम उल्टी फाइंडिंग है। ये केस हम लोगों के पास आया, इसमें क्या है, एक आई होप इट्स बोन, अ बोन विथ रेफरल सैंपल्स, जिसमें कि लिंक करना था इस केस को इस बोन से कि ये जो बोन है वो इस परिवार की है कि नहीं। ओके, सो वी डिड, इट्स अ नॉर्मल प्रोसीजर, वी एक्सट्रैक्टेड डीएनए, वी डिड पीसीआर एंड जीनोटाइपिंग एंड वी गॉट दिस प्रोफाइल। ओके, सो बाय सीइंग दिस प्रोफाइल, अगर मैं आपको पूछूं कि ये किसकी प्रोफाइल है, मेल की या फीमेल की, वी कैन से 1 2 3, so body belong to a female. ओके, अब हम ये नहीं कह रहे हैं, इस बात को हमारी ऐसे इंटरप्रेट नहीं करिएगा कि हम मेडिकल लीगल एग्जामिनेशन को अंडरमाइन कर रहे हैं। मैं आपको सिर्फ ये बताना चाहता हूं, जितना मैं समझता हूं इन पॉइंट्स को, कि आप ओपिनियन किस बेसिस पे देते हैं, कि जो बुक्स में लिखा हुआ है कि स्कल ऐसा होना चाहिए, उसमें सूचर ऐसा होना चाहिए, शेप ऐसा होना चाहिए, इस एरिया की बनावट ऐसी होनी चाहिए, यही बेसिस है मेरे ख्याल से, जो मैं समझता हूँ। ओके, मेरा सब्जेक्ट नहीं है, बट मैं मोटे तौर पे यही समझता हूँ, इसका बेसिस ये है। अब ये जो बातें हैं जो बुक्स में लिखी हुई हैं, उसका बेसिस क्या है? किसी ने कभी 1000-2000 सैंपल किए हैं और ये पाया है कि आमतौर पर जो ज़्यादा होता है वो मेल का है, ऐसा स्पेसिफिक फीचर, यही बेसिस है ना। ओके, बट उस बेसिस के पीछे खाली यही बात है कि स्टैटिस्टिक्स इज प्लेइंग इंपॉर्टेंट रोल, कि जो ज़्यादा है वो कंसेप्ट फ्रेम हो गया है। ओके, बट वो कंक्रीट होगा, वो प्रूव होगा, ये बात नहीं है, ये इस केस में प्रूव हुई। ओके, बट हम लोग जो हम सोचते हैं अपने काम में कि जब कभी कुछ गड़बड़ आती है तो दूसरे के काम को गड़बड़ नहीं साबित करते, सोचते भी नहीं है, हम ये सोचते हैं कि हमारे काम में गड़बड़ी हुई होगी। ओके, सो वी डिड इट अगेन एंड वी जनरेटेड प्रोफाइल अगेन एंड वी गॉट अगेन द मेल प्रोफाइल। ठीक, अब हमने इसमें देखा, जो ऑटोप्सी रिपोर्ट में एक बात और लिखी हुई है, यहाँ पे आप देखिएगा कि इसका स्कल भी मिला है, साथ में बोन मिली थी, बोन हमारे पास भेजी एग्जामिनेशन के लिए, इसका स्कल भी मिला था। ओके, इस स्कल में एक फ्रंटल पोर्शन पे एक यहाँ पर होल भी है, ये भी लिखा हुआ है ऑटोप्सी रिपोर्ट में। सो वी थॉट कि इसका स्कल मंगाया जाए। हो सकता है कभी ऑटोप्सी होते समय जो सैंपल हुआ वो सैंपल हमारे पास गलत आ गया हो, ये हम लोगों ने फिर सोचा, क्योंकि वी कंफर्म्ड आवर रिजल्ट, देन वी आस्क्ड फॉर दिस सैंपल। अब आप देखो, ये डीएनए प्रोफाइल जो है वो टीथ की है और ये डीएनए प्रोफाइल जो है वो बोन की है। इज देयर एनी डिफरेंस? सेम प्रोफाइल। अब ये बॉडी किसकी प्रूव हुई? मेल की। ओके, सो ये रेफरल सैंपल कंसर्न नहीं था, मैचिंग और नॉन मैचिंग मैं आपको बताना नहीं चाह रहा हूं, मैं आपको ये बताना चाह रहा हूं कि व्हेनेवर देयर इज अ डाउट, अगर आपको लगता है कि ये ज्यादा क्लोज है फीमेल के, क्योंकि वो तो प्रिंसिपल्स हैं जो लेट डाउन है, बट ऐसा हो सकता है कि जो हम फाइंडिंग ले रहे हैं दैट नीड्स फर्दर कंफर्मेशन। कहीं ऐसा हो सकता है, ये बात हो सकता है ऐसी रही हो कि कुछ चीज बॉर्डर लाइन होती है ना, जैसे किसी को बॉर्डर लाइन बीमारी है, मंगोलिज्म है, बॉर्डर लाइन है, एक्सट्रीम हो गया तो उसके हार्ट में प्रॉब्लम, बॉडी में डिफॉर्मिटी एंड नंबर ऑफ चीजें हो जाएंगी। सर नमस्कार। बढ़िया सर। सो नाउ व्हाई डीएनए फिंगरप्रिंटिंग? इसका एक और एग्जांपल एक अच्छे केस के साथ आपको देखता हूं। इफ देयर इज अ रेप केस एंड आपको कहीं पे स्पॉट में कहीं कंडोम मिला है, सो कंडोम, अगर कंडोम यूज हुआ है तो नॉर्मली इट कैन बी कंसिडर्ड कि एक बैरियर है जिससे सीमेन वेजाइनल एरिया में नहीं गया है। ओके, सो यू वोंट फाइंड प्रेजेंस ऑफ स्पर्मेटोजोआ और प्रेजेंस ऑफ मेल डीएनए प्रोफाइल on the garment of the lady or on the vaginal area of the lady. Okay, you won't find this. Okay, but if you have condoms and those condoms are properly preserved, आप लोगों को इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि कभी पुलिस वाले आपसे पूछें तो उसका तरीका ये होगा कि ये कंडोम वाले केसेस कब सॉल्व होंगे, रिजॉल्व होंगे, कि अगर वो कंडोम खुला हुआ लेबोरेटरी में पास हो गया। अच्छा, अब आप ये कहेंगे कि हम बांधने बोल रहे हैं या बंद करने बोल रहे हैं उसको, तो अंदर वाला मटेरियल डिग्रेड होगा। वो कितना भी डिग्रेड होगा तो स्पर्मेटोजोआ इज अ गुड मटेरियल जो कि बहुत लंबे समय तक परसिस्ट करेगा, वो नहीं सड़ेगा। ओके, उसके जो डाइसल्फाइड बॉन्ड होता है वो अच्छा नेचर का होता है, वो सड़ेगा नहीं। लेकिन इफ इट कम्स आउट, then what it will do, it will mix with the female DNA. So outer area of condom is having female DNA and inner area is having male DNA. So अगर हम as investigator या as preserver of the article अगर हम इसको सिक्योर कर सकें कि उसका अंदर वाला मटेरियल ऊपर वाले एरिया में नहीं आए, तो उसका क्या फायदा होगा वो मैं आपको इस केस से दिखाता हूं। इस केस में देखिए 3 कंडोम स्पॉट पे मिले हैं और ये लेडी का रेफरल सैंपल है जो ऑलरेडी आया था। तो पहले तो हमें ये एस्टेब्लिश करना है कि द सेम लेडी वाज सेक्सुअली असल्टेड विद दिस कंडोम बाय यूजिंग दिस कंडोम। ओके, सो दिस इज गेटिंग एस्टेब्लिश्ड दैट फ्रॉम आउटर पोर्शन ऑफ ऑल 3 condoms वी गॉट द सेम DNA प्रोफाइल which is matching with the referral sample of the lady. Agreed? Okay. Now, this is the inner DNA profile from inner surface of all 3 condoms. Condom 1, this profile. Condom 2, this profile. Condom 3, this profile. Okay. There are 3 suspects in the case. Condom 1 profile is matching with the suspect 3. Condom 2 profile is matching with suspect number 1. And there is a different profile on condom number 3, which is not matching with the remaining suspect. Okay. अब ये जो टेक्नोलॉजी है इसका ब्यूटी आप देखिए, इसकी ब्यूटी सिर्फ सजा दिलाने में नहीं है। अगर कोई कन्विक्ट नहीं हो रहा है, अगर कोई किसी घटना का अपराधी नहीं है, तो वो भी उसी कंफर्मेशन से इस रिपोर्ट के बाद बरी होगा, isn't it? Okay, so this is not only the technique to apprehend guilty, this saves innocent as well. So in this case, this innocent was saved by using DNA report. अब if DNA examination would have not been used in this case, what scenario would have been? ये तीनों जेल में होते, एग्रीड, तीनों जेल में होते। क्यों? क्योंकि स्पर्मेटोजोआ मिला है। और ऐसा होता है लोअर कोर्ट में, सारे केस ऐसे ही आगे बढ़ते हैं कि उसमें ह्यूमन स्पर्मेटोजोआ प्रेजेंट है, तो ये तीनों जेल में है। जब ये हायर कोर्ट में जाता है, हाई कोर्ट में, तो या तो वहां से एक्विटल हो जाता है केस का, और अगर वहां से बच जाता है तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में एक्विटल हो जाता है। ओके, यही रीजन है जो 1:4 वाला रेशियो मैंने आपको शुरू में पहली स्लाइड में दिखाया था कि द टेक्नोलॉजी विच इज रिक्वायर्ड इज नॉट बीइंग यूज्ड इन द केसेस ऑफ सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट। दिस इज द प्राइम कंसर्न। ओके, दिस इज प्रेजेंट डे डीएनए टेक्नोलॉजी। अभी हमने बात करी कुछ केस से, कुछ आपको इंपॉर्टेंस हमने बताने की कोशिश करी। अब ये जो प्रोसेस है डीएनए एग्जामिनेशन की, ये क्या है? दीज आर डिफरेंट वैरायटी ऑफ सैंपल्स एंड दीज आर डिफरेंट स्टेप्स। एक डीएनए एक्सट्रैक्शन, मतलब जो भी हमारे पास एग्जिबिट या आर्टिकल है उससे डीएनए निकालना। देन वेरी सेकेंड स्टेप इज टू क्वांटिफाई दैट डीएनए, दैट हाउ मच डीएनए इज देयर इन द आर्टिकल, and then you amplify, which is said to be the PCR technology, and you further genotype. This is the costliest instrument which is being used in forensic DNA fingerprinting. This is called a sequencer, जो 1.25 करोड़ का होता है। Okay, so ये सारे updated instrument हैं। Then automation पहले मैनुअली हम लोग करते थे, जब सर से सीखा था हम लोगों ने, जीवी राव सर हैं जो कि हमारे गुरु हैं, जिनसे हमने काम सीखा है बहुत सालों पहले, तो तब हम लोग मैनुअली करते थे। और आज भी बहुत सारे केसेस ऐसे होते हैं जैसे मुझे एक बाल या एक दांत दे दें, मुझे नहीं, किसी को भी, जो भी फोरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट आपसे इंटरेक्ट करेंगे, तो अगर आप उसको चैलेंज वाला सैंपल दोगे, जो कि मैं आपको बता रहा था कि आप चैलेंज देंगे एक दांत भेज के हमको, देन आई वुड प्रेफर माय ओन मेथड, जो फिनॉल क्लोरोफॉर्म एक्सट्रैक्शन एक नॉर्मल प्रोसीजर होती है ना, मैनुअल मेथड। आई बिलीव कि मैनुअल मेथड इज बेस्ट। अगर आपके पास कम डीएनए है तो उससे डीएनए निकालने के लिए स्टिल वी बिलीव कि मैनुअल मेथड इज बेटर। बट नाउ यू हैव ऑटोमेशन, जिसमें आप 12-13 सैंपल से एक साथ आप जो है वो डीएनए प्रोफाइल कर सकते हैं। दिस इज ऑटोमेटेड डीएनए एक्सट्रैक्शन सिस्टम। देन यू हैव रियल टाइम पीसीआर। this machine is used for quantitation, and this machine is PCR, and this is for genotyping. Now, अगर आप इस पूरी प्रोसेस को देखें, आपके मन में ये भी क्वेश्चन आता होगा कि डीएनए एग्जामिनेशन में कितना समय लगता है। तो डीएनए एग्जामिनेशन में अगर इफ यू टॉक अबाउट वन एग्जिबिट, सो इट टेक्स अराउंड 10 to 12 hours normally for examining one exhibit, right from सैंपल लेने से लेके डीएनए प्रोफाइल जनरेट होने तक 10 to 12 hours। 10 to 12 hours ऐसा नहीं है कि आप बीच में फ्री हैं। इतना पूरा समय लगता है आपको। अगर आप रश करते हैं अपने को एक्सर्ट करके, जो कि हमें कई बार करना पड़ता है, तो आप ये प्रोसेस 8 से 9 घंटे में कम कर पाते हैं। इससे कम देर में कंप्लीट नहीं होती एक सैंपल से डीएनए प्रोफाइल जनरेट करने की बात। बट नाउ यू हैव अ मशीन, दिस मशीन इज कॉल्ड एज रैपिड 200, जिसका अभी इंडिया में अभी राइट नाउ वी डोंट हैव एनी इंस्टॉलेशन ऑफ दिस मशीन बिकॉज दिस मशीन इज वेरी कॉस्टली, बट दिस मशीन हैज अ पावर एंड पोटेंशियल टू जनरेट प्रोफाइल इन 90 minutes. You give some swab to this machine and this machine will give you profile in 90 minutes. There is a machine. So there are methods available right now, but these methods are very costly, so not being applied in India. Now if you talk about the technology, ये स्लाइड मैंने इसलिए एंटर की है क्योंकि अभी से 3 दिन पहले मैंने एक पीएससी में छत्तीसगढ़ में इंटरव्यू लिया है बच्चों का, फॉरेंसिक साइंटिस्ट के सिलेक्शन का बायोलॉजी में। उसके बाद मैंने ये स्लाइड ऐड करी इसमें। उसमें मैंने जिससे भी पूछा कि व्हाट मेथड इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन फॉरेंसिक डीएनए, सो हर ने मुझे उत्तर दिया कि एएफएलपी और आरएफएलपी, या फिर ये कहा कि रिकॉम्बिनेंट डीएनए टेक्नोलॉजी, दिस इज द मेथड व्हिच इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन फॉरेंसिक डीएनए टाइपिंग। ओके, सो डीएनए टेक्नोलॉजी में एक, इसके पहले मैं आपको एक बात ये बता दूं कि एनीथिंग व्हिच इज नॉट अपडेटेड इज ऑब्सलीट। सहमत हैं आप इस बात से? जो मैंने आपको इसके पहले कंपेयर किया बायोलॉजी एंड सीरोलॉजी से डीएनए को, वो क्यों था, वो उसका रीजन क्या है कि दैट इज टेक्नोलॉजी ऑफ 60s एंड द टेक्नोलॉजी इज नाइदर अपडेटेड नॉर देयर इज एनी एडवांसमेंट। ऐसा नहीं कि उसमें एडवांसमेंट नहीं थे बायोलॉजिकल फ्लूइड आइडेंटिफिकेशन के, बट नोबडी अप्लाइड एनीथिंग फॉर बेटरमेंट ऑफ फॉरेंसिक बायोलॉजी एंड सीरोलॉजी। दिस इज द मेन रीजन बिहाइंड कि वो क्यों आज इतने नीचे टेक्नोलॉजी है और डीएनए क्यों इतनी ऊपर है। To see the level of transformation in the technology or advancement in the technology. ओके, तो इनिशियली रेडियो एक्टिव प्रोब्स यूज होते थे, अब फ्लोरेसेंट लेबल्स यूज होते हैं। पहले सदर्न ब्लॉट होता था, अब पीसीआर होता है। पहले स्लैब जेल यूज होता था, अब इलेक्ट्रोफोरेसिस होती है। इसमें मेहनत भी काफी कम हुई है। जो सर लोगों ने काम इनिशियली किया है वो बहुत लेबोरियस काम होता था, जो आज मैं आपको कह रहा हूं कि 10 से 12 घंटे में होता था, उसमें सर बताएंगे कितने दिन लगते, क्योंकि वो तो मैंने सीखी भी नहीं है वो वाली टेक्नोलॉजी जो सर लोग यूज करते थे उस टेक्नोलॉजी को। ओके, सो ये जो 10-12 घंटे हैं, आप सोचिए इससे भी डबल या शायद ज्यादा समय लगता होगा उस टेक्नोलॉजी में काम करने में। ज्यादा डीएनए रिक्वायर्ड होता था, ज्यादा लेबोरियस प्रोसेस थी। ओके, सो ये जो है वो इतना चेंज हो गया है। तो अगर हम आज के डेट की टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करें, सो द टेक्नोलॉजी इज बेस्ड ऑन एसटीआरस, शॉर्ट रैंडम रिपीट्स होते हैं वो, पीसीआर पे बेस्ड है वो टेक्नोलॉजी, और उस टेक्नोलॉजी को कहते हैं इट इज एसटीआर बेस्ड कैपिलरी इलेक्ट्रोफोरेसिस। ये आज की टेक्नोलॉजी है विच इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन 2018। तो ये करीब एक डिकेड से यूज हो रही है ये वाली जो टेक्नोलॉजी है, वो अराउंड 10 ईयर्स से ज्यादा हो गया इस टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज करते हुए फॉरेंसिक में। लेकिन अब ऐसा भी नहीं है कि जो 10 साल पहले होता था वो आज चल रहा है। अभी मैंने आपको एक किट का एग्जांपल दिखाया था, जो मैं आपको प्रोफाइल दिखा रहा था टेबल में टाइप में, उसमें टोटल 15 मार्कर थे। आज की डेट में जो हम मार्कर यूज कर रहे हैं वो 27 और 29 मार्कर्स होते हैं। तो उसमें हर चीज में इंप्रूवमेंट है। पीसीआर की अगर हम बात करें तो पहले 3.5 घंटे में पीसीआर होता था, आज की डेट का जो पीसीआर है वो हाफ एन आवर से 1.5 आवर में कंप्लीट हो जाता है। तो आधे से भी कम समय हो गया है। ओके, सो प्रोसेस को सिंप्लीफाई करने की कोशिश हुई है, प्रोसेस को और रिजल्ट ओरिएंटेड बनाने की कोशिश हुई है, और द प्रोसेस इज मोर टारगेटेड। और जो इनहिबिटर्स होते हैं, क्योंकि फॉरेंसिक सैंपल्स की अगर हम बात करें तो फॉरेंसिक सैंपल्स अब कहाँ हैं? एक मान लीजिए हमको ब्लड सैंपल या सलाइवा से प्रोफाइल जनरेट करनी है, इट इज रादर वेरी प्योर फॉर्म ऑफ डीएनए और प्योर फॉर्म ऑफ मटेरियल। हमने ब्लड ड्रॉ किया या सलाइवा लिया, इट इज वेरी प्योर। नाउ इफ यू टॉक अबाउट फॉरेंसिक सैंपल्स, सो व्हाट आर दोस? कोई आपको एक हड्डी है, एक हड्डी यहां भी पड़ी मिल सकती है, किसी ने मार के फेंकने का कोई नियम नहीं है कि कोई आदमी मार के किसी को कहां फेंकेगा। वो एक रूम में फेंक सकता है, वो एक सेप्टिक टैंक में फेंक सकता है, वो नाली में फेंक सकता है, वो मिट्टी में गाड़ सकता है। वो ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि 10 साल पहले मिट्टी में गाड़ा हो, तब वो नाला रहा हो, बाद में सूख गया, फिर उसके ऊपर मकान बन गया, ऐसा भी हो सकता है। तो आपको एक वाइड रेंज मिलती है। अब ब्लड की बात करें तो ब्लड ऐसा भी है जो यहाँ पे पड़ा है लिक्विड है, ब्लड ऐसा भी है जो ड्राइड स्टेट में है, ब्लड ऐसा भी है जिसके ऊपर डर्ट एंड डस्ट लगी हुई है, ब्लड ऐसा भी है जिसपे कीचड़ लगा हुआ है। ओके, सो यू सी अ रेंज ऑफ अ वैरायटी ऑफ सैंपल्स आर देयर। एक पर्टिकुलर सैंपल भी आपको एक सिंगल स्टेट में नहीं मिलेगा, एंड दिस इज द रीजन बिहाइंड व्हाई देयर इज नॉट अ सिंगल प्रोटोकॉल फॉर प्रोसेसिंग ऑल द सैंपल्स। क्योंकि यू हैव डिफरेंट वैरायटी ऑफ सैंपल्स, यू हैव टू improvise your method ताकि टू गेट द बेस्ट ऑप्टिमम रिजल्ट्स। उसके लिए आपको जो अपनी मेथड है उसमें ऐसा नहीं कि आमूल परिवर्तन होता है, बट यू हैव टू चेंज सर्टेन थिंग्स ताकि आपको रिजल्ट मिल जाए। ये मैंने आपको बताया कि आज की डेट की जो टेक्नोलॉजी है वो कैपिलरी इलेक्ट्रोफोरेसिस है, और हमारे देश के अगर बाहर की बात करें तो वो टेक्नोलॉजी हमारी अब एनजीएस बेस्ड हो चुकी है, जो कि हम कब अडॉप्ट करेंगे, जब हमारे दूसरे देशों में वो टेक्नोलॉजी ऑब्सोलीट होकर दूसरी आ जाएगी, तब हम इस टेक्नोलॉजी पे जाएंगे। ओके, तो बाकी जो देश हैं, जो एडवांस कंट्रीज हैं, उनमें एनजीएस का यूज शुरू हो चुका है फोरेंसिक्स में। हम लोग अभी एनजीएस की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम लोग अभी कैपिलरी इलेक्ट्रोफोरेसिस पे हैं, लेकिन स्टिल दिस इज गुड थिंग। इसमें ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि कमी है और रिजल्ट्स में कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा बहुत। इसके थोड़े साइंटिफिक रीजंस हैं क्यों एनजीएस आया है फोरेंसिक में, वो आपके अभी फिलहाल काम की बात नहीं है, तो हम उन मुद्दों को स्किप करते हैं यहाँ से। बट यस, द टेक्नोलॉजी इज देयर विच इज मोर एडवांस, मच मोर एडवांस्ड। हम एडवांसमेंट की बात करें टेक्नोलॉजी में, तो आज आप देखें हम लोग कितने मार्कर यूज कर रहे हैं। कोडिस 20 हो चुका है, जो पहले कोडिस 13 हुआ करता था 1997 में। एक टाइमलाइन है, आपको इसको याद रखने की भी जरूरत नहीं है, ये आपको सिर्फ इसलिए बता रहा हूं कि जो मैं आपको ये बात कह रहा हूं ना कि एनीथिंग विच इज नॉट अपडेटेड इज गोइंग टू बी ऑब्सोलीट, तो ये मैं सिर्फ आपको एडवांसमेंट दिखाना चाहता हूं कि इसमें एडवांसमेंट हो रहा है कंटिन्यूअर। ओके, सो जो फर्स्ट एसटीआर मार्कर है वो आइडेंटिफाई हुआ था 1991 में, और उसके बाद बहुत सालों तक यहाँ पर कभी आपको 12, 13, 15 मार्कर वाली किट लॉन्च हुई थी, और यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक वो यूज हुई है। और अब 15-16 के बाद जो भी किट्स यूज हो रही हैं, ऑल द किट्स आर हैविंग मोर देन 20 मार्कर्स जो यूज करते हैं। ओके, अब दो इंपॉर्टेंट मार्कर्स हैं जो कि फोरेंसिक साइंस में यूज होते हैं, एक ऑटोसोमल मार्कर होते हैं और दूसरा वाईएसटीआर मार्कर होते हैं, जिनका ज्यादा यूज होता है फोरेंसिक्स में। तो इनका भी अगर आप डेवलपमेंट देखेंगे तो 1994 से 2012 में ये मोर देन 20 वाली बात आ चुकी है। अब मोर देन 20 कितने होंगे, अब ये बढ़ रहा है, एक चीज। दूसरी चीज ये बढ़ रही है कि अगर फोरेंसिक सैंपल्स में यू हैव मोर अमाउंट ऑफ इनहिबिटर्स, सो देयर आर किट्स विच कैन कोप अप विद दोज इनहिबिटर्स। अब ये बात होने लगी है कि कैसे उस मल्टीप्लेक्स, ये मल्टीप्लेक्स है क्योंकि ये 4, फिर 9, फिर 12, फिर 16, अब 20, 25, 26, 27 ऐसे मार्कर हो गए। सो दीज आर मल्टीप्लेक्स। ओके, सो उनका जो परफॉर्मेंस है मल्टीप्लेक्स का, तो अब क्या बातें होने लगी हैं कि दीज किट शुड बी डायरेक्ट एम्पलीफिकेशन कॉम्पेटेबल, कि ये प्रोसेस ना करना पड़े डीएनए आइसोलेट करने का, तो वो 8-9 घंटा बचेगा। इनहिबिटर का टॉलरेंस हो कि किसी भी इन्वायरमेंट में अगर सैंपल पड़ा हुआ हो तो आप उसको डीएनए प्रोफाइल उसकी जनरेट कर सकें। एम्पलीफिकेशन टाइम जो है वो 3.5 आवर हुआ करता था, उसको कैसे कैसे और कम किया जा सके, सो दैट होल प्रोसेस कैन बी कंप्लीटेड इन वेरी लिटिल टाइम, सो दैट आप जो जस्टिस वाली बात करते हैं ना, लैब्स में पेंडेंसी है और कैसे कोप अप कर सकते हैं, ये सब चीज़ें हो सकें। ओके, सो अगर हम क्रोमोसोम्स की बात करें तो 23 क्रोमोसोम्स हैं। 23 क्रोमोसोम्स में 22 ऑटोसोम्स हैं, एक सेक्स क्रोमोसोम है। ओके, सो जो ऑटोसोम्स हैं उन पे जो मार्कर्स हैं, दोज आर सेड टू बी ऑटोसोमल मार्कर्स। सो वो डिफरेंट ऑटोसोमल क्रोमोसोम्स पे होते हैं। ये जो वाई मार्कर है, दिस मार्कर इज ऑन वाई क्रोमोसोम। अब ये कहाँ काम आता है, जैसे रेप का केस है। इन रेप केस व्हाट इज देयर कि रेप में एक लेडी की प्रोफाइल है और एक जिस आदमी ने रेप किया उसकी प्रोफाइल है। और आपको ये बात समझ में आ गई जो मैं बता रहा हूँ कि वाई होता है। ओके, आपको सिर्फ ये बात समझ में नहीं आ रही कि मार्कर एक क्रोमोसोम पे ज्यादा क्यों है। ओके, ओके, ये जो मार्कर का नंबर है, मार्कर का जो नंबर है ना, पहले तो एक चीज आप ये समझें इस बात को कि मार्कर का नंबर हैज नथिंग टू डू विथ एग्जामिनेशन। उसका एक स्टैटिस्टिकल वैल्यू है। अगर नंबर ऑफ मार्कर बढ़ेंगे तो आपके रिजल्ट स्टैटिस्टिकली ज्यादा सिग्निफिकेंट होंगे, ठीक है। बट अगर हम रेप के केस की बात करें, व्हाट वी वांट टू सी द प्रेजेंस ऑफ मेल डीएनए इन हाई फीमेल डीएनए कंटेंट। सो नाउ योर मेल डीएनए इज मिक्स्ड विथ हाई अमाउंट ऑफ फीमेल डीएनए। तो अब अगर हम प्रोफाइल जनरेट करेंगे तो आप ऐसे समझें जैसे अभी यंग एज का माने अपन को, आप लोग तो खैर हो, हम अपना एग्जांपल दे रहे हैं कि हमारे को अगर खाने की चीज़ें सामने रखी जाएं तो हम बहुत मोटे हैं तो मीठी चीज़ें अब अवॉइड करते हैं, मजबूरी में नहीं, मजबूरी में, फोर्स्ड मजबूरी जिसको कहते हैं। तो उस फोर्स मजबूरी के कारण अच्छी चीज़ खाना अवॉइड करते हैं। but this never means that I don't like this. ओके, सो अब होगा क्या कि अगर आपके पास खाने की ज़्यादा चीज़ें होंगी तो हम क्या चीज़ करेंगे, क्या चीज़ खाना पसंद करेंगे. अगर हमारे पास एक चीज़ ज़्यादा हो और बहुत अच्छी हो तो हम वो ज़्यादा वाली ले लेंगे क्योंकि वो हमें इजली अवेलेबल है और उसकी क्वांटिटी भी ज़्यादा है. तो अब यहाँ पे भी यही होता है, एक फीमेल डीएनए है जो ज़्यादा है. क्योंकि ज़्यादा क्यों है, क्योंकि वो सोर्स ही फीमेल है. जैसे वेजाइनल स्लाइड बनी तो वेजाइनल स्लाइड में जो मेन सोर्स ऑफ मटेरियल है दैट इज वेजाइना. तो वेजाइना इज इट इज कवर्ड विथ फीमेल सेल्स ओनली और उसके साथ मेल सेल्स उसमें इंट्रोड्यूस की गई हैं जिसकी वॉशिंग भी हो रही है. लेडी यूरिन भी गई है, लेडी ने नहाया भी हुआ है तो वॉशिंग भी हो रही है. तो भले वो करोड़ की संख्या में हो स्पर्मेटोजोआ, बट देयर इज एवरी चांस ऑफ गेटिंग दोज मेल सैंपल गेटिंग डाइल्यूटेड. एवरी चांस. मतलब मोटे तौर पे आप ऐसी बात समझ लें कि एक अपने पास बाल्टी भर पानी है, उसमें हमने एक चुटकी कलर डाल दिया है. ओके, और अब हम ये कह रहे हैं कि कलर को डिटेक्ट करो. ये बात है मोटे तौर पे, यही हो रहा है ना. तो अब हम इसके लिए क्या करेंगे, इफ वी हैव स्पेसिफिक मार्कर जो कि उसी कलर को डिटेक्ट कर ले तो वही चीज हमें चाहिए होगी. सो फॉर दैट पर्पज YSTR इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन रेप केस. ओके, अब ये कितने हैं ये बहुत मैटर नहीं करता. मैटर क्या करता है कि कितने सेंसिटिव है वो किट कि वो ज्यादा फीमेल डीएनए के प्रेजेंस से मेल डीएनए को डिटेक्ट कर सके. दिस इज मोर इंपॉर्टेंट इन फोरेंसिक्स. ओके, सो इस बात का नंबर से कोई रिलेशन नहीं है. ओके, एंड दिस नंबर जो मार्कर है दीज आर पोजीशन ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर क्रोमोसोम. अब ये 10, 15, 12 जितने भी होंगे, अगर ये मार्कर Y पे है तो एक Y क्रोमोसोम है, एक यहाँ, एक यहाँ, एक यहाँ, एक यहाँ, ऐसे ऐसे मार्कर है. बट ऑल द मार्कर्स आर ऑन डॉट Y क्रोमोसोम. मल्टीपल लोगों ने रेप किया है उस केस में. और एक्स और अगर ऑटोसोम का भी अब थोड़ा इस विषय को रोक के इनके प्रश्न का उत्तर देते हैं, उसमें क्या फायदा होगा. ओके ओके ओके, सो इफ यू यूज XSTR marker then what is the difference, because for X male is hemizygous, so for X chromosome male is hemizygous and for female she will be having two markers. I'll show you the profile. If you generate a X profile of male it will be having only one X, and if the girl is there so it will be having two X in the girl's profile. Okay, so girl is having two X, one X is matching with father and the other one is matching with mother. Okay, so for girl child, if you want to fix the paternity of a girl child, even X markers can be used for establishing identity of a girl. Okay, but if you see the male which is hemizygous, and if you have a case where more male persons are involved. Okay, so now if you generate a autosomal profile, so in autosomal profile all the persons on a particular marker can maximum have two numbers. So if there is mix of 4, so how many number we should expect? 2, 2, 2, 2, 8 numbers. Okay, now if you generate X profile with this in this rape case, how many numbers you'll expect? 1, 1, 1, 1. So now XSTR will be having more discriminatory power than by using autosomal STR. This is what I said, and this is getting appreciated in Nature scientific reports. Okay, got my point? So X also has the utility. So there are different kind of markers which are being used in forensics. Same. Coming questions in forensics, nobody asked about from which sample the profile is generated. Right now, no defense asks. Like in a rape case, the profile can be generated from blood sample, it can be generated from semen sample, and it can be generated from saliva sample. अगर किसी ने किसी पे गलत आरोप लगाया है कि किसी ने किसी का सलाइवा किसी आर्टिकल पे लगा दिया, so what profile, what will be my report? I'll say that I got a male DNA profile, but I'm not defining the source. So this is the coming question जो कि आएगा जब डिफेंस काउंसिल लर्नेड हो जाएंगे, then they'll ask कि from which sample this profile is generated. Okay, so this question will need to be answered, और इस पर there are lot of work which is going on regarding identification of biological fluid. ये भी कुछ दिनों में हमारी रिपोर्ट का पार्ट हुआ करेगा, मे बी 1 साल, मे बी 2 साल. So now if you talk about DNA report, so I say that if you go for DNA then do not assume, because whatever fact will be there it will come out by the analysis. Okay, so now how DNA fingerprinting is done and what are the reports. ये आपको करीना कपूर से समझाते हैं। नाउ ये दोनों हैं और ये इनका a particular locus on which everybody is having two numbers. Okay. Now, whenever any child is there, so on a particular point that is on this locus, this allele got transferred and this allele got transferred. Okay. So this is the same thing which I showed you with the table, that on every marker there is transfer of one number. Okay. So welcome back. There was some problem in this. Okay, got it. So now that was for one marker. Now if you see on 15 or 27 markers, the condition will be the same, that on every point there will be transfer of one number. So this is a normal profile. But the table which I showed you, that was extracted from this graph. Okay, this is said to be the electropharogram which is generated today. If you see the old books जिसमें RFLP method बताई गई है, there used to be some bands जो आपने देखे होंगे कभी बुक्स में. There are certain bands. तो एक बैंड माँ में है, एक बैंड फादर में है, and आप जो चाइल्ड में आ रहा है वो एक एक बैंड आ रहा है. This is how you see the similarity. But how it is done now? It is done on the basis of generating the DNA profile. So on every particular point, any child will be having two numbers, and one number is from father and the other number has to be from mother. Okay. So this is autosomal STR profile, and there you can see the amylogen marker by which you can determine the sex. So this is DNA profile with autosomal STR generated from a single source sample. Okay. Now, if the sample is mixed, that means if there is contribution of two individuals, then how this profile will look like? I'll show you later. So here you can see that there are four numbers, two from a lady and two from the suspect. Okay, so this is mixed profile. And again, as I told you earlier, that you have more contribution in this sample, you have more contribution of female. You can see over here, there is more amount of X in comparison with Y. Okay, because the profile is mixed and the source of profile is female. So you will be expecting more amount of female DNA. Okay.
Now there are certain changes also. अब हम नॉर्मली जो होता है वो तो बात कर चुके. अब हम आपको कुछ अगर प्रॉब्लम भी आती है, बिकॉज देयर इज सिस्टम, आपने म्यूटेशन सुना हो, देयर इज म्यूटेशन, occurrence of mutation. So if at all there is mutation, there will be change also. Okay. So what kind of changes are there, and does DNA have answer? Yes, DNA have answer. Okay. So now you see this case. This is a case of forensic paternity, and there is mutation in autosomal STR. You can see over here that on every point this child is matching. Child is XX. Okay. So that means child is female. Okay. So on every point the child is matching, but the child is not matching on this particular point. You will see over here that father has 15-15, mother has, no, this is father. Okay. And this is the lady. Okay. This is fetus. So 13-15, 15 is there from here, and now this from here only 15 can come. Okay. So now from where this 14 came? We don't have any answer for that. Okay. Now the best way of doing this is to sequence this particular portion to see that where the things are, to clarify the situation. Okay. But yes, there is another option of using alternative markers. Okay. Let me show you. This is again use of XSTR in this case. As the child in question is female, so as I told you earlier that we can use XSTR markers in this case, so that will be as good informative as autosomal STR. Okay. Now you see the informativeness of XSTR in the same case. This is profile from XSTR. As I told you earlier that for male XSTRs are homozygous because they have only one X allele. Okay, one X. and in female you have 2x. This is profile from diseased. So you can see over here that on every point there is a match. Okay, so in autosomal STR there was one mutation, but it was confirmed with XSTR that this particular child is biological offspring of this. Okay, so this is use of XSTR markers. So any laboratory which is working on STRs has to use different variety of markers so that if at all there is some problem, it can be recovered by using alternative markers. This is another example. This is a case of forensic paternity. Now again mutation in autosomal STR, but here the child in question is male. Okay, now you cannot use XSTR in this case. Okay, so now in this case you can see over here there is difference on this particular marker. So this case was put on YSTRs. Okay, and this case was resolved. On all the markers you have the same DNA profile as we expect Y same in all paternal blood relatives. Okay, it will be the same. Okay, so this Y marker is being used in for assessing paternal lineage as well. So it is very good marker for rape case, but it is also used for seeing the paternal lineage. Okay, this is a lineage marker. We do observe certain abnormalities. You might have heard about this. This is trisomy. So this is profiled from single individual. So on every point you will find 2 or 1 numbers. This is homozygous. So, but on this particular marker, which is D21S11, there is triallelic pattern. Okay. So now from where this triallelic come? As I told you earlier, in a child's profile, there won't be anything which is either not there in father or it is not there in mother. So that means if this child is having 3 peaks on this particular marker, these 3 peaks should account for in the profile of father and mother both. Okay. Now see. Son 1, son 2. This family has 2 children. Now father has only option of giving this marker same D21S11. Father has 30 only. So for all the child he can pass 30. But mother has 2 options, 29 and 31.2. So you see on this son 31.2 got transferred, and in this son 29 and 31.2 both got transferred. So this created triallelic pattern which is said to be the Mongolism. Okay, so DNA has answer of abnormalities as well, if at all there is something. Okay, so but answer will be concrete. अगर कोई डीएनए रिपोर्ट ऐसा है कि जिसमें एक प्रॉब्लम है और अगर एक प्रॉब्लम बच भी जाती है तो फिर वो बात उतनी पुख्ता नहीं रह जाती. Anything if it is absolute and concrete, it should be concrete only. Okay, there should not be any negligence. Now this is another interesting case. As I told you that in all the case, in the case of paternal lineage, all the son or all the blood relatives male in a family will be having same DNA profile, same Y. मतलब हम, हमारे पापा, हमारे चाचा, हमारे ताऊ, उनके सब बच्चे, because all these are paternally related blood relative male. Okay, so all those should have the same DNA profile. Okay, now you see this case which is published by us. You see, in this case, father and 6 son, एक family है. बड़ी family आज भी होती है कभी-कभी. Okay, so now you see the difference. On all the markers, profile is same. But on this particular marker, 18, 18, 18, 17, 18, 19, 19. This is unusual, but this happens. And this is a real case report. Okay, so this also happens. Now this reminds me a case, अभी कुछ समय पहले हमने सॉल्व किया है. उस केस में क्या था, एक फैमिली है, एक हस्बैंड वाइफ, ज्वाइंट फैमिली में वो लोग रहते हैं, एंड उनके कोई बच्चा नहीं है, कोई इशू नहीं है. सो फैमिली इंसिस्टेड दैट लेडी टू हैव रिलेशन विद जो हस्बैंड का भाई है, मतलब उसके देवर से रिलेशन के लिए फैमिली ने ही बोला, सो दैट फैमिली में बच्चा आए. दिस वाज द केस. अब बच्चा हो गया, देन फैमिली ने उस लेडी को टॉर्चर करना शुरू किया कि वो लेडी चरित्र से सही नहीं है, शी इज हैविंग रिलेशन विद हस्बैंड और ब्रदर बोथ, और ये जो बच्चा है वो ऐसा है तो इसको परिवार से अलग किया जाए. सो दे फाइल्ड दिस केस. केस केम फॉर डीएनए एग्जामिनेशन। अब जो बच्चा है वो हस्बैंड और जो उसका हस्बैंड का भाई है उससे कंपेयर करना है, और यू विल बी सरप्राइज टू नो दैट चाइल्ड वाज मैचिंग विद फादर एंड इट वाज मैचिंग विद देवर आल्सो। क्यों? क्योंकि दोनों का सोर्स तो सेम है, सोर्स तो सेम है दोनों का प्रोफाइल अलग है। जो आदमी है, जो हस्बैंड है, दैट इज हैविंग अ डिफरेंट प्रोफाइल, एंड उसका जो भाई है, दैट भाई इज हैविंग डिफरेंट प्रोफाइल। ओके, बट दोनों का जो सोर्स है दैट इज सेम, क्योंकि दोनों का फादर मदर एक है, सो दे विल बी शेयरिंग सेम एलील्स। तो अब जो बच्चा है, अब उसको एस्टेब्लिश करनी है, सो वी वर नॉट एबल टू एस्टेब्लिश पैटर्निटी बाय डूइंग ऑटोसोमल एसटीआर एनालिसिस। ओके, अब ये केस मैं आपको इसलिए कोट कर रहा हूं कि हम बड़े हैं तो हम किसी छोटे से नहीं सीखेंगे, ये जरूर ध्यान रखिएगा आप। मेरा एक स्टूडेंट है जिसने मुझे बोला कि सर इसमें वाई लगाइए। सो द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन विच केम इन माई माइंड, जबकि ये केस मेरा रिपोर्ट हो चुका है, द क्वेश्चन विच केम इन माई माइंड कि भाई भाई हैं दोनों का वाई क्या होगा? सेम होगा। व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ डूइंग वाई? दिस वाज द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन विच केम इन माई माइंड। अगर वो नहीं कहता तो शायद उस समय हम वो वाई नहीं लगाते। उस समय हम लोग ऐसे डिस्कस करते हैं, तो हम लोग बात कर रहे थे तो नहीं बात समझ आई। उसने चूंकि कहा तो हमने इसमें वाई लगाया, फिर ये दैट रिमाइंडेड मी अ केस कि इसमें ऐसा हुआ था, लेट अस पुट इट फॉर वाई, एंड यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड टू सी कि वो बच्चे का जो वाई था वो दैट मैच्ड विद वन पर्सन एंड देयर वाज अ म्यूटेशन। जो हस्बैंड था उसका वाई प्रोफाइल एक मार्कर पे उसके भाई की वाई प्रोफाइल से डिफरेंट था। वी गॉट म्यूटेशन एंड द केस वाज कंफर्म्ड, क्योंकि वो वाई है जो उसके देवर से मैच नहीं किया, उसके हस्बैंड से ही मैच कर रहा था। हस्बैंड में देयर वाज अ म्यूटेशन, और वो जो म्यूटेशन था दैट वाज पास्ड टू दैट चाइल्ड, और वो हमको मैच करता हुआ मिला वहां पे, तो प्रोफाइल मैच हो गई। ओके, सो द केस वाज सॉल्व्ड। सो इस तरीके की एब्नॉर्मलिटीज मिलती हैं। अब दिस इज योर वाई क्रोमोसोम। If at all there is deletion, so deletion will be on Y chromosome. So if your marker is placed on the portion which is deleted, so what will happen? On that particular marker you won't find a profile, which is there in this case, you can see. Okay, on this portion there is no profile, on this portion there is no profile, on this portion there is no profile, on this portion there is no profile. Okay, so if at all there is deletion in YSTR, Y amylogen marker, it will be reflected on your YSTR profile as well. Okay, so I'm almost done with my presentation. I would like to know you a bit about my lab. We started DNA examination in 2007. We qualified international quality control testing in 2008. That is the very first year of our start. We are 9 officers presently posted in DNA. We report or examine more than 160 cases per month. We have 100% success rate from extraction of DNA from bone, which was awarded during international conference on DNA. We have our own protocol for direct sample amplification using non-direct kit. We have developed a buffer recently last year. This work is done with my student who is there and will be interacting you, Mr. Ramkishan, who is working with me on this aspect. So we have developed a buffer jointly which is able to generate DNA profile directly. That means you don't need to extract DNA. You put your blood onto that direct buffer, and from that direct buffer you can have your DNA profile. Okay, so this process is under patent, and we initiated use of different variety of multiplex system in India, and this is case statistics of our laboratory. We used to receive 100 cases around when we started doing examination, and now we are getting more than 1800 cases per annum. Okay, and this is our normal report, 160 to 250 cases per month. This was case we report. We have our submission in the International Population Database, and these are the certification which we have for our laboratory. The one is from Institute of Legal Medicine and from Forensic Science in Charité, Berlin, Germany. Laboratory of Genetic Identification, Grenada, Spain, and US YSTR database. We are the only laboratory in the Asia to have passed this. There is no laboratory in Asia which has qualified this test. Now, why this certification is required and what this certification is? हम एग्जामिनेशन देते हैं तो देयर इज सर्टेन पासिंग मार्क। उससे एग्जामिनेशन और इसमें फर्क ये है, इफ यू सिक्योर 50% मार्क्स एंड अबव यू गेट क्वालिफाइड, बट इफ यू ऑप्ट डीएनए प्रोफिशिएंसी
and you are not 100%, you would never get a certificate. Okay, so this is difference in this certification. So they send you from abroad the sample, you have to generate DNA profile and report, and if your profile is found correct on all the positions where it is to be compared, then only you get the certificate. Okay, so if you see the certification of these laboratory, you have these markers on this certificate. Okay, so that you have done optimization or you have done proficiency on markers, and on all the markers your results were correct. Then only you get the certificate. If your results fail on any one marker, no, you won't be qualifying this. Okay, so this is one. This is the certificate which I said that we are the only laboratory in the Asia which has this certification, and these are the other laboratories of world. And you can find that FBI is there and no other Indian laboratory is there in this list. Here, qualified in 2016. Okay, so these are our publications in last 4-5 years. We have been working on creating population database, which is need of our, because any DNA examination is to be supported substantially by using statistics, that what is paternity index and all, these kind of things are there. So we are continuously working on generating population database, and we have our publications in almost all leading journals in forensic science. And this is a basic paper. If you want to see, you can download this from European Journal of Forensic Science. Open Access Journal is there, and this paper has a brief about updated information on. This was published in 2016, and it is having a good amount of information on forensic DNA typing. This is a review paper of current status of DNA typing. Okay, these are different population database. This is publication in Nature Scientific Report. And this is a book which we authored, and this came just recently, December 2018. It was here. And in January 19, this publication came from European population. And in February, now the month which is going on, and we target every month one publication in 2019. This is our target to have. Okay, so we are working in collaboration with other state FSL, also state and central FSL, for generation of population database. These many labs have contacted us to create or generate their state population database, and we are working with them. Okay, so this is the present instrumentation. You can see two genetic analyzer, recent genetic analyzer we have in our laboratory. 3 different automation systems we have. 3 PCRs we have, real-time PCRs, 2 recent models we have. So almost all the recent facilities are there in our laboratory. So if you believe on this technology which I am using, you'll be happy like this. Otherwise, you may feel sorry. Okay. Thank you so much.
Because what I understood is he was the one who initiated this DNA fingerprinting in our country, and he solved the issue of Rajiv Gandhi case. All these samples have gone to him only. So I just thought where we have a difference in his technology and the one which you are using.
May I interrupt for just 1 minute? He is Dr. Goel from Biochemistry Department from our institute, and his area of interest is DNA, and he's worked in toxicology. So he is a guest in our workshop for a while. We asked him to interact. So he's not a forensic person, so I just wanted to brief that on you, because he might be more into DNA or in your field. He would understand probably more technical details. Yes, sir.
Sir, firstly, even I wanted to meet you, because yesterday night only Dr. Goswami called me that one of my good friend is there and you must meet him. So, okay, it's good to see you here, sir. Lalji sir has started, there's no doubt about it, or the technique is said to be initiated by Dr. Alexander. और उसी समय में ये काम लालजी सर ने यहाँ पर करा था इंडिया में. और जैसे हम लोग कहते हैं ना कि एलेक्स जेफरी इज फादर ऑफ डीएनए फिंगरप्रिंटिंग, वी से दैट डॉक्टर लाल जी इज फादर ऑफ डीएनए फिंगरप्रिंटिंग इन इंडिया. और हमारा सौभाग्य है सर कि हमारे गुरु डॉक्टर जीवी राव यहाँ पे, जो जब टेक्नोलॉजी इस्टेब्लिश हो रही थी उस समय के सर के साथ काम किए हैं. और 2001 में जब हमने एबीसी डीएनए की सीखी थी तो सर से सीखी थी. तो उस समय की जो टेक्नोलॉजी थी वो आज की टेक्नोलॉजी से बिल्कुल फर्क है. उस समय जो काम होता था दैट यूज्ड टू टेक लॉन्गर टाइम, and
मैं शायद उस टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में आपको ना बताऊं तो बेहतर होगा, क्योंकि सर हैं जिनने उस टेक्नोलॉजी पे काम किया है, डॉक्टर निकुंज है, वो भी मेरे से पहले से काम किए हुए हैं। तो हमने जब काम शुरू किया 2007-8 में, तो आई वर्क विद दिस कैपिलरी इलेक्ट्रोफोरेसिस ओनली। सो आई डू, मतलब हम बुक की पढ़ी हुई बात आपको बताना नहीं चाहते, इसलिए मैं आंसर नहीं दे रहा हूँ। बट यस, टेक्नोलॉजी इज चेंज। जो उस समय जो होता है इलेक्ट्रोफोरेसिस ही था, बट वो जो टेक्नोलॉजी थी उसमें और आज में जमीन आसमान का फर्क है। वो बहुत टाइम टेकिंग थी, उसमें मोर अमाउंट ऑफ डीएनए वाज रिक्वायर्ड, और आज की जो टेक्नोलॉजी है दिस रिक्वायर्स वेरी लिटिल अमाउंट ऑफ डीएनए। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ आई से अबाउट दिस किट, नो, इनिशियली वी यूज्ड टू हैव some 3 to 5 nanograms of DNA was required for assessing DNA, but now if you have 16-12 picogram, I have a recent publication where I have used less than 15 picogram of DNA to generate a DNA profile. So this is the potential and power of technology is changed now. It is much developed and much you can say कि जो labor था वो that has been quietly reduced. Time, labor और मनी, तीनों ही चीजें कम हुई है। इनिशियली इट यूज्ड टू बी सेड टू बी द कॉस्ट, आज भी यही कहा जाता है, इट इज वेरी कॉस्टली टेक्नोलॉजी, सो डोंट यूज दिस टेक्नोलॉजी इनटू केसेस। बट द थिंग इज, इफ योर किड, देयर वाज नॉट मच कंपटीशन इन द फील्ड। लाइक इवन टुडे वी यूज द किट्स व्हिच आर बीइंग created at US or China. Okay, so we are using those kits, and in most of the labs what we say that we use a particular brand of kit. Okay, so whenever there is no competition, so the costs are more. अब हम जैसे आज की डेट में जूते की बात करें तो बाटा है, दूसरे ब्रांड हैं और ब्रांड है। Of course there is a competition. So whenever there is a competition, the prices will be stretching down. So this is what is coming with this technology also. Now we have one brand like ABI, then we have Thermo, then you have Promega, then a Chinese company is well rated right now. So now you have 4-5 brands. So now the prices have been sliced down. So this created a remarkable difference in pricing, per sample pricing of DNA. In my opinion, today's price would be somewhere around 600-700. That is good enough for generating a sample DNA. So, and this thing, and then time, like PCR, it used to be 3.5 hours. Even today, if you go for microbial sequencing, the PCR would be for 3.5 hours. But if you see these kits, no, these are improved, and you can put a whole PCR in 30 minutes. The latest kit which we have right now, it is generating a DNA from multiplex of 29 STRs in 30 minutes. So this is the power potential of technology. So
The intention was just to let everybody know
yeah.
that this technology was started by Dr. Ram.
Yes.
And somehow, I was very much linked with it. So I thought, at least let us salute that person who has really contributed it. But of course, these advancements are very much needed, and this has changed the paradigm.
Sir, as I said, no, I was having 2 slides in my presentation. You see here, this is the slide which got hide. And I pay my regard because he did a lot.
It was
And
one of the very
yes,
interesting initiatives.
और वो काम तो अपनी जगह है वो, और जो दूसरा मैं दिखाता हूँ हमारे जो जिनसे मैंने सीखा है, डॉक्टर जीवी राव, ये जो रियल जेम है वो है ये लोग। He used to be a chief of DNA fingerprint when we started DNA. So these two are big gem. एक तो हमारे बीच नहीं है, दूसरे लिविंग लीजेंड हमारे साथ में है अभी। थैंक यू सो मच।
RFLP.
Yeah, RFLP.
Lalji developed RFLP with his own probe.
Yeah.
Alex Jeffries published in December 85.
Yes.
Lalji sir published in August. So August 86. That was when we joined him. So the gap of 6 months, 2 technologies came into the world. Alex Jeffries patented his RFLP, that is called restriction fragment length polymorphism, which is a first generation DNA fingerprinting, which was patented to live technologies by Alex Jeffries, which was very expensive for India. Lalji is a true patriot in sense that he left so many things in his life, priorities, would have been a billionaire if he'd been alive. He developed this technology in India with his BKM probe, which he isolated from a snake, which was, when it was binding with human DNA, it was showing polymorphism or differentiation. So that is how is the difference. The RFLP went on to single locus probe, single locus I patented one,
Then after that came the PCR based HLA-DQ alpha, then came the STRs, and we are moving over to SNPs. So Lalji is credited with the technology of India, and Life Technologies was a company which opened shop in India but closed down because they couldn't face competition from Lalji's lab. That is one of the very highlights of MNC going back and again coming back now. That's it. So that is the difference, RFLP and STR.
Consider it population-based DNA bank or something for the whole of India. If you have any apprehensions for it, or if you find any pros and cons for it, I would like to know your take on that.
When we started DNA in 2007, there was some initiation on the start of DNA bill, and still it is in pipeline. Though it is approved, still it is in pipeline. So right now we don't have any implementation on that. We are working hard to have a SWIFT-like group, which is the scientific working group on DNA. There is no such group is there. There is no guideline of some standard protocol, standard procedure of for using DNA technology. There is no protocol for having database even, which is the need of our today. Why I showed you my publication, that I am trying hard on this, that I know as a bench worker in forensic DNA that until and unless you have a population database, your reports are going to be quashed. Okay, because you don't analyze your, if you don't analyze your parameters, or if you don't analyze your results with statistical values, the results are, I don't think those reports should sustain in court of law. Okay, but the thing is, when defense is not aware, so हम उसका भी फायदा उठा रहे हैं कि हमारे जो सामने वाला एक होता है ना कि हमारे दोनों हाथों में बराबर की तलवार नहीं है, तो जब हमारे हाथ में बराबर की तलवार नहीं है ना, उसके नॉलेज लेवल को हमने बढ़ाया नहीं है, तो हम वो अकेले हम राजा हैं, हम जानते हैं, हम बहुत जानते हैं. But the thing is, if you talk about ideal situation, what should be the ideal thing? There should be population database as we have in our state. There are certain states which have at least certain publication. What I provocate now, you don't need to create population database for all the population. It is not going to, I don't find this feasible. But if I see that I have done, I think more than 5,000 population samples I have already done. And I have found this, though I have not finalized that publication, that I have found some similarity in my population. If I say that on any particular marker, the population is more or less same. Okay, if I structurally want to see the profiles of different population, and if I find कि सभी population जो है वो आसपास हैं हमारी structurally, जो कि मुझे अभी दिख रहा है 5,000 samples का डाटा देखने के बाद, different, I have worked on more than 30 populations by now. Okay, and I have seen those populations structurally, और मुझे लगता है कि those populations are not structurally different. So if I find and we conclude that the yes populations are not structurally different, then we can use the other populations values also for the calculation of paternity index. That will be feasible. Okay, even if we don't have population database for all the population, it can be done. So this is how we wanted to proceed, and we proceeded, and we are at least now I am able to get a spark to all the laboratories. As you can see in my last slide, that more than 8 or 9 labs have contacted us for helping us in creating their population database. So this is what I wanted, and it is mandatory that all the labs should have at least few population database, so that you can have and you can have access to you use or calculate your paternity index value from that population values.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pankaj Srivastava sir. It was a very enlightening opening to our workshop, and I am sure all the participants as well as the faculty here have enjoyed his introduction to DNA. And now I think we are already behind the schedule, so without wasting any further time, I'll start up with the inauguration part of this workshop. Over to Brinda and Anuradha.
Thank you, ma'am. We would like to now start with the inaugural ceremony. We have amongst us as our chief guest Honorable Shri Adit Pratap Singh sir, IPS 2011 batch, who is the commandant of Hawk forces and is working in Naxal hit areas We are extremely lucky to have you among us, sir, and I extend our welcome to you. We also have, we are extremely privileged to have Dr. D.S. Barkut, sir, among us, who is there with us always to guide us in all the endeavors and is one of the leading patrons of the faculty. So I welcome you, sir. I would now like to extend a floral welcome to the dignitaries that are present here. And I would like to please call upon Dr. Arnit Arora ma'am, who is the Dean Academics and Head Forensic Medicine in AIIMS Bhopal, to extend a floral welcome. One more special guest who's with us today, Mr. Rajiv Singh. I would like to welcome you, sir. We are connected with him since long, and we are working together, and I welcome you, sir. Then we'll like to continue with the second lecture.
We request you to please rise, and we'd like to do a floral welcome. I request Dr. Raghavan sir to welcome him.
And dynamic person, and he is also a very good promoter of scientific events like this, and he is associated with us, and he is helping our department whenever we have needed. Thank you, sir.
Our chief guest, Mr. Aditya Pratap Singh, to say a few words on this workshop, and we welcome you, sir, please.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone for inviting me, Dean ma'am, Raghavendra ji, Rajiv, for calling me here and letting me interact with you people. It is always a pleasure to get associated with AIIMS. Actually, I have a lot of respect for AIIMS because two most important women in my life were saved by AIIMS in the last 6-7 years. So that was Delhi AIIMS. But forensic science as a subject, or for that matter, how police deals with it, we are actually the first responders in any situation. The kind of cases Dr. Pankaj Srivastava was dealing with, Dr. Rao is sitting here, and in fact, even as you people, even as doctors, we are the first responders and first handlers of a lot of situations. That's why a lot of people have a problem with us. It is not just the forensic scientists, it is the lawyers, it is the judges, it is the doctors, sometimes the public. Everyone has a problem with us because the kind of duties, the kind of things that police does, and that too in a short period of time, and the kind of expertise that is expected out of a policeman when he handles those things firsthand. That is, I would say, the basic functioning of police. Let's talk about forensic science only. The basic functioning of police, the way we people work, is totally opposite to what is expected out of us. And it is totally opposite to how a forensic scientist would expect us to work or how it works. Like, I've been in situations, or as SP of 2 districts, if there was a situation or if there was a crime, then my strict instruction or clear instruction to my subordinate is that if there is a murder, body uthao, postmortem karao, or cremation karao. That is my priority. But on the other hand, the priority of a forensic science expert, we do have forensic science experts in our district who are posted under the SP. A forensic science unit works with us. They always have a complaint that कि sir हम जब तक पहुँचते हैं, whenever we reach the spot, before that body उठ जाती है, there is no logical conclusion that we can draw out of it, and there are a lot of things that we can see on the ground and deduce that would help you in the investigation. But the way we work, the kind of pressures we have, it is usually anti to the kind of concepts that are prevailing in the mind of the forensic expert. But that is what is we are trying to improve in our people that whenever they see a situation, at least the basic things that he has to take care of, whether it is securing the crime scene or whether it is preparing the samples. और हमारे पुलिस में क्या रहता है, तो there are 5 or 6 ways of handling samples. Those 5-6 ways of handling the sample, whether they are good or not, whether they are right or wrong, that is not important for the guy who's working in the field. He just knows those 5 and 6 ways. उसमें वो उसको handle करेगा and he'll send it to you. And I have been a part of a lot of cases where I have, when I've met forensic experts or when I've met people who've come from Sagar or from Bhopal, and in important cases, when they tell us what our guy had did, so it is it is sometimes very humiliating for us कि अरे भाई ये ऐसा तो उसको नहीं करना चाहिए था. But the situation we are dealing with is you have to understand it that as police officers or as policemen, we deal with a lot of situations. So the expertise that is expected out of us would, I think it would take time, and the way the trainings are being organized, like you people are being sensitized about forensic science. Similarly, we people are also working on our front, but the kind of duties that we have, it will take some time. And my experience with forensic science, it's been like that. I have always believed that there should be a coordination, or there should be, like we were talking about the same 10 minutes ago, just before the tea break had started, that the doctors, the lawyers, the judges, the policemen, everyone has to be, the forensic science expert, everyone has to be on the same platform when we are talking about one particular case or whenever we are handling things. I remember a case when I was SP Harda, it was 2016, we found bodies of 2 girls lying in a field, and a month before that there had been a big case in UP and there was a whole media furor over it. So it became sensitive that 2 tribal girls had died in a field, their body was picked up from somewhere and dropped somewhere, and everyone was crying murder, that they were murdered, and the murderer tried to burn them, and there were a lot of things, and such situations, they get politicized and there is a lot of media pressure. But in that time, we had Mr. Harsh Sharma had come with his team to Harda, and he traveled there, and the way they dealt with the whole situation, it helped me in briefing the media and the relatives of the deceased, and also in managing that situation for almost a month, because we got that report almost after 25-30 days. But the presence of experts, the way they explained things to me, the way things were explained to the relatives, to the media, to the politicians, everything was managed and handled wonderfully. So, and it was all because everyone was on the same platform when we were dealing with that case. But sometimes, as it happens, even in that case, the case I'm talking about, the local doctor, we usually, whenever there is a post-mortem, we ask for opinion from the doctor. So I had asked him that because we are calling the scientific experts, please don't give any opinion. What was the cause of death? I just want you to write, as you write in 90% of the cases, no definite opinion can be given. I spoke to the doctor and I told him कि भाई इससे आगे मत लिखना, because we are already calling the experts. But the guy was headstrong, and I don't know what did he see in that situation. He straight away wrote some reason for that, but please don't record this. But we had to manage that situation also, and then finally the forensic report came out and it was all handled. And it all turned out to what they were calling a burning situation. It was actually a case of electrocution. And there were other things also. There was the case had everything from DNA profiling to getting a rape case registered to getting a electrocution case registered. There are a lot of things in that one case alone. So that is how I remember it. But all in all, it was a good experience, and it reminded me of my academy days, because we have also visited all the forensic science labs. I've been a probationer of Sagar, so I've spent a lot of time. I think I've visited twice or thrice and Mr. Pankaj Srivastav, who was here. My IG was Mr. Pankaj Srivastav when I was a probationer in Sagar, and he was the guy who pushed me into forensics. So it has always been an area of interest for me. And I would like to thank you all for giving me this time and wish you all the best. Thank you.
I would like to welcome the two more patrons of the Faculty of Forensic Medicine who are with us now, Dr. Bhanu Dubey sir and Dr. D.K. Satpathy sir. I welcome you, sir. I would like to extend a floral welcome to Dr. Bhanu Dubey sir. I would like to call upon Dr. Jayanti Yadav ma'am to please extend a floral welcome.
My morning is made, my teachers are here. We had organized or conceptualized this particular workshop as the third one in the series where we think or mull over what is that we require to be updated on, what is the call of the day, what are our deficiencies, how can we improve on them. So this concept of, the last one was on anthropology, the first was on skills of autopsy. This one was amongst, so it's like the whole department or the team of about 10-15 of us think what should be the next one. So everybody thought this was an area which needed to be straightened out, which needed attention. And like Dr. Pankaj just mentioned, that if you don't update yourself, you are obsolete. So if you don't know about what's happened, where did a new technology come in, what can it really do for you, what you should really be prepared with at a minimal level at least, if not right at the top. So you have to start somewhere and reach somewhere, if not really at the top, somewhere where you're at least happy with knowing what's happening. So in this particular workshop, the next question was, okay, DNA sampling, whatever a forensic pathologist needs to do, we'll address that. And where will it go, and what faults do you do, and how do they carry that implication for a particular case? That's what we wanted to know. And then came the next bigger question, who will tell us that? Who will really be able to fill that gap? So amongst our forensic pathology people, that was a little difficult, and also we thought integration being the call of the day in all our previous workshops. The first one where we integrated with forensic microbiology, the second one with anthropology people and excavation people, and the third one, I think, when we are now interacting with forensic science at large and our interface with the court and hence the law. So it is kind of it is more enlightening to get a bigger picture rather than just what you do, how you do, what you must do, how you improve. Where does it reach? So these particular group of resource persons were well thought. I'm very sorry, but we looked at all your credentials, we looked at your names, what you've done, would it really be useful, took some feedback from people. Then we arrived at this list of the resource persons. So we have a lot of expectations, and we were hoping mainly clarity, we were hoping mainly candid, honest, unexaggerated statement of facts as to where we as a country and this technology and our work, where does that really stand, and what should we do, or where should we make the flight from, where do we start and take off from. So it is kind of that first step, and we hope that it will continue on with the next steps as we believe, and that's why a hands-on workshop was planned, so that we actually can hold the swabs, we can hold the bottles, we can hold the slides, we can handle the sample, And so the first time that we do does not feel like first time to us. When we talk about it or spread the word back to our institutes, to our colleagues, to our friends, we feel more confident because we've handled it, even if for a brief, short time. So 2 days may not make a major difference in our lives, in our work, but they should start at least making that major difference which we foresee. So that start should be a strong start, and we hope you all will try and fight over laying your hands on the hands-on samples, and you all will have a lot of questions. And the questions which can be answered today may not get an answer as face-to-face for a long time perhaps. So please make use of this particular workshop. And I'm very happy to have Satpathy sir here with us, who was the director of the Medical Legal Institute, the place where we worked, where we got a lot of autopsy material. Right from 1993 was the time that I joined the department there, and Forensic Department and Medical Legal Institute worked jointly, concomitantly, happily, heartily sharing all our cases, our concerns, our discussions, with 2,500 plus cases from then, moving on to between range of 2,500 to 3,000 autopsies, some hundreds of expert opinions, lot of labs, diatom labs planned right from 80s by Professor Hirish Chandra. So he has been there, and we have worked commonly with lot of encouragement, and wherever we have made faults, he has been there to overlook them. So today we remember those years also together when we move on to the next step. We have Dubey sir here with us. He has been my teacher and mentor right from then till now and in future. And whenever we actually get caught, they are the people who we turn to. We look for answers, we discuss with them. They bring the past, the present, and what they think of the future and match with ours, and we come to a common conclusion. We have Dr. Barku with us, and he is still, they have from active forensic life, or they are not into that, but thankfully they are still happy to join us and share our conflicts or questions every day that we have them handy with us is actually a blessing. And so today to have them together here with us, and with our new people that we will be getting to know, like Dr. Pankaj we got to know, and I was really impressed with so many windows that he opened in my mind. So I'm sure it would lead to a lot of jotting down important bullets in your notes, in your mind, and in your practices. And as the day goes by, I hope we all can really have 2 solid, beautiful days of our life, which charter our path for the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to invite Dr. D.K. Satpathy sir, Professor, Dean, LNMC Medical College, LN Medical College, to come here and greet the meeting with 2 words. So,
Respected Bharadeve sir, Dean, Medical College, LN Medical College, and my colleague Dr. Barkur, and all the august gathering, and my dear friend Pankaj. हम तीनों व्यक्तियों ने हजारों पोस्टमार्टम किए होंगे। नॉलेज सबके पास है, पर व्यवहारिक नॉलेज और सैद्धांतिक नॉलेज में बहुत जमीन आसमान का अंतर है। मैं बैठे बैठे सोच रहा था कि मैं पंकज को बोलूं कि यहां पर जो भी वर्कशॉप में तुम बोलोगे, प्रैक्टिकबिलिटी पर, व्यावहारिकता पर अधिक ध्यान देना, एकेडमिक सेशन पर उतना ध्यान मत देना, क्योंकि पुस्तकों में लिखा हुआ है ये करो ये करो ये करो, फैसिलिटी अवेलेबल है नहीं। मेरा डॉक्टर बिल्किसगंज में पोस्टमार्टम कर रहा है, जहां पर एक सिंपल सा ब्लड सैंपल लेना भी मुश्किल है। उसको स्लाइड के लिए बोतल को फोड़कर कांच के उसमें सैंपल लेना पड़ता है। मैं उसको सिखाऊं, तुम क्यों फेल्ट बॉटल लाओ, ये NO3 मॉडल 3 लो, ये सॉल्यूशन लो, 3:1 बनाओ, वो उठा के उसको फेंक देगा और कुछ भी करके तुमको टिका देगा। जब हमारे पास मटेरियल ही नहीं आएगा तो जांच किसकी करोगे? तो जो भी एम्फेसाइज होना चाहिए हमारे कंट्री के एटमॉस्फेयर को देते हुए, हमारी प्रेजेंट एबिलिटी को देखते हुए, इसी पे ही हमको चर्चा करना चाहिए। क्योंकि अच्छा रसोईया वो नहीं जो अच्छा रेसिपी का थियरी जानता है, अच्छा रसोईया वो है जो अवेलेबल सर्कमस्टांसिस में पैलेटेबल भोजन बना के दे सकता है। क्योंकि मैं यदि किसी होटल मैनेजमेंट के किसी बहुत बड़े शेफ को मैं पूछता हूं व्हाट इज द रेसिपी ऑफ शाही खिचड़ी, तो बोलते हैं कि 1 किलो गरम मसाला, 4 किलो काजू, 10 किलो, उसको मालूम है ये सब खरीदने से रहे, मैं बनाने से रहा और मेरी बेवकूफी उजागर होने से रही, इसी तरह थक जाएगा। अच्छा रसोईया वो है बोले सर रेसिपी तो ये है, बट व्हाट इज अवेलेबल विथ यू, बासमती नहीं है चलेगा, डोना इलाचा चलेगा, घी नहीं है, सोयाबीन तेल चलेगा, इसमें भी मैं पैलेटेबल भोजन बना के दे सकता हूं। तो हमारे फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन के जितने भी, एक तो देखो जो भी मेरे फॉरेंसिक मेडिसिन में मेरा ब्रदर आया है उसको मैं कोटि कोटि धन्यवाद और थैंक्स देता हूं कि सो कॉल्ड नेग्लेक्टेड सब्जेक्ट में तुम लोग आए हो और इस सब्जेक्ट का मान बढ़ाए हो, और हम लोग तो अब अस्त में हैं और तुम लोग उदय में हो, तो इसके लिए ये सब्जेक्ट को जो कैरी आउट कर रहे हो उसके लिए रियली आई एम थैंकफुल टू यू। और मैं चाहता हूं कि इस 2 दिन के वर्कशॉप में एम्स के अरविंद और जयंती और बाकी मेंबर्स जो भी प्रयास कर रहे हैं ये प्रयास को सीख के जाओ। और दूसरा, जितने भी एक्सपर्ट्स आ रहे हैं उनका फोन नंबर जरूर रखना, जिससे जब भी तुम्हें कोई अड़चन हो रात के 2 बजे भी तुम उनको फोन करके अपनी डिफिकल्टी बता सकते हो, एंड दे आर द रियल टीचर जो तुमको गाइड करेंगे। थैंक यू सो
Thank you, sir, for your such encouraging words. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. D.S. Varkur, sir, who is ex-director, Medical Legal Institute of Madhya Pradesh, to say a few words.
All the speakers from outside and the delegates attending this conference, I welcome you all. And in true sense, I will say only few words. That the knowledge of forensic science is not just for confirmation of certain things, but also for exclusion. So the use of forensic science has to be done very, very carefully. And I hope that whatever has been told by Dr. Pankaj and will be told by other speakers, you will take a solid views and take home messages that what to do and what not to do. I would say only that the forensic science and the forensic medicine, as all these 2 branches are closely related with judiciary, so you have to maintain 3 things. One is the truth, you must stick to the truth, other is honesty, and third is integrity. If you can maintain all these things, you will never fail in the field of forensic medicine, and you will always be very, very helpful in criminal justice administration system. So the career and character of a forensic scientist depends on these 3 words: truth, honesty, and integrity. And I hope that when you have joined this branch, helpful for administration of justice, you will certainly stick to these 3 words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Bhanu Dubey, sir, to please say a few words.
Friends, guest speaker, Dr. Pankaj,
Dr. Murthy, and the delegates my friend Dr. Satpathy, Dr. Barkur. The workshop which is organized by the organizer, Dr. Arneet Arora, Dr. Jayanti, Dr. Vidua and their team. They are very enthusiastic, and what I am observing, every time they are organizing some workshops, some conferences, and that is a good academic exercise what they are doing. And I hope that this DNA sampling, collection of sample we are talking about will be fruitful for the persons who have come to attend this workshop. And by that, definitely it will be a practically applicable for the collection of sample, solving the legal problems, which is most important. I'll not take much time because everything has spoken before me by everybody. I only say congratulations and best of luck, and definitely this 2 days brainstorming session will give something for the betterment of forensic medicine, because forensic medicine is a subject which is a practical subject, and whatever written in the book, sometimes that is theoretical point of view, which does not come during practical applicability. So books are there, practicals are there, and many things first time you may see and first time you may learn, because it is not necessary कि हम सभी जानते हैं. That is not possible. And I hope so best of luck, and hope this 2 days session will give some betterment and will percolate to the society also, as well as to the doctors who are working in different fields, particularly in small areas, as Dr. Satpathy has said, that from small areas the facilities are not available, the equipments are not available. Then how the problem can be solved? So you have to find out the solution in the facilities available with you. One has to see that only, because fineries are there, बड़ी बड़ी बातें सब कर रहे हैं दुनिया में, पर क्या आप उसको efficacy कर सकते हो उसकी, whether it can be effective or not. So again, I hope you learn that and then percolate it to the lower side also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Jayanti Yadav ma'am, Additional Professor, FMT AIIMS Bhopal, to come here and give a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries we have here. Ma'am.
Good afternoon. I just propose a vote of thanks for this inaugural event. I am really grateful to have our patrons and our mentors, Dr. Barkur sir, Dr. Satpathy sir, Dr. Dubey sir, among us, as their blessings, their guidance are always with us, and we are really grateful to have them here in all the endeavors, in all the activities that we do, especially in Bhopal. I am especially thankful to all the resource persons who have traveled from all across the India and who are the experts in their field. And this workshop, when we thought about this concept of having sampling and evidence of DNA in forensic medicine, the main thought behind this topic and conduction of this hands-on workshop was we all were by law or by with advancement of the science were required to collect samples from the autopsy or the clinical cases for DNA, and somewhere something was not going right. Either the collection was not right or the analysis was not right. This bridging, there was some lacunae between the sampling to the evidence or the justice that was delivered, or the samples which was made useful to the delivery of justice was not actually going through. So that was the idea that came to us. Why not bridge this gap as much as we can? So with that thought, we thought, and the best resource person would be those who are really working on the samples that we are sending them. So we thought of these people who have really vast experience of handling the DNA cases, who are really working in the labs with the samples that we provide them, and they are the best person to tell which samples are better and how they should be collected and sent to them. So main idea was to have a more solid and more practical knowledge of collecting and preserving the samples from the cases that we deal with. But when we envisaged the whole program, we thought, why not have also an overview of what actually happens in the lab? Because when you are not having an overview of all the things or all the processes that is being carried out in the samples that we preserve, we are not going to justify why and how we are preserving the sample, or what we are preserving the sample for. So this whole 2-day workshop, and especially the hands-on thing, was deciphered, was programmed in such a way that it provides you a very good outlook or overview or a full range from collection to the analysis of the sampling, and where we stand and what is our role, or how we can minimize our error so that the justice can be delivered to the person who deserves it. So that is the most basic idea behind organizing this workshop. And with that, we actually, as madam also said, we chose the resource person who had actually worked, have a lot of experiences, and those who could be really fruitful with their deliberations on the certain topics, and we could actually gain a lot. And that is all I request from you, to have these 2 days totally interactive session and extract all that you can from these renowned resource persons who have come from all the way to this workshop very enthusiastically, very energetically. I'm really thrilled with all the enthusiasm and all the interest that, sir, you have all shown for this workshop. And I'm sure that all the participants, and sir, let me also tell you, we were also very much encouraged with the response we had for this forensic update. We had lots of requests for participation, but as you can see, this hall is already filled up. We are already short of space, and since this was hands-on workshop, we had to limit the participants, and it was very difficult to say no. We are filled up to so many people that we did, and because we had to maintain that number very strictly, we had to refuse a very many people. And from next on, we are actually planning to make some regulations about how many people from how many institutes can actually attend, because it's very difficult to say no to anybody for a small thing. So, but we are really encouraged to have the chosen few of participants, and also the chosen few of the resource person who could interact. And I am sure whenever you go back, at least you will be enriched with the knowledge and the skill of how to go about for the DNA sampling and evidences. So thank you all the participants and all the resource person. And last but not the least, I would also like to thank the whole Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology who have put up this show for you, and who have worked their best to make these events, this hands-on workshop, and tried to give their best so that you feel comfortable, you feel enriched after this workshop. And I also would like to thank Dr. Goyal, who despite his busy schedule has shown such an interest and is with us, and that gives us more encouragement to conduct such workshops in future also. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, let us move forward and invite our next speaker, a well-known name in forensic medicine and toxicology. He has been working in this field for the past lot of years with various publications. He is the co-author of The Essentials of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology by Professor K.S.N. Reddy. He is the editor of Journal of Forensic Medicine and International Journal of Medical Toxicology and Legal Medicine. He has published 152 scientific articles in different journals with a working experience of about 4 years abroad in Malaysia and KSA. His contribution to forensic medicine and toxicology is a boon to all. I kindly request Dr. Professor O.P. Murthy sir, AIIMS Delhi, to enlighten us with his knowledge in DNA sampling from the forensic pathologist perspective and some interesting cases. Sir.
And their team. Once I got this invitation at this around 8-10 days back, I was a little pondering. Yeah, I'm a forensic pathologist and my knowledge in DNA is very limited. When especially when listening to like Professor G.V. Rao is there and Pankaj Srivastava who is a leading pioneer in this field. But anyway, once the role has been given to me, I will try to justify to the best of my knowledge and skills what I have gathered during these years. So if you permit, I continue with this. Right, thank you very much. First of all, the sexual assault cases, weapon identification, absolute identity in unidentified disasters, skeleton remains and identification, disputed paternity and disputed maternity cases. We are coming across those who are having the working forensic departments and dealing with the casualty. So as you know, in the scientific world, the chain of custody, how the sample has been collected, whether it's in a proper way or not, and after that is maintenance, chain of custody, how it is collected, how it is transported, to whom it is given, whether seals were intact or not intact. So these all things are very important. The taking of sample is one art. The second is the sealing and sending to the right person through the right chain is also equally important in the cases where the stakes are high. Then whether it has reached to the right person, he has the right experience and interpretation, he knows what he is doing. There are standard tests which are highlighted by the foreign courts, especially America. You must be knowing the relevancy, fire, and these other tests. I'm not going in detail. The first exposure of DNA we thought of in 1995, because we have an adjacent hospital, Safdarjung Hospital. And there were the allegations of a baby change. One baby boy was exchanged with a baby girl. And somehow the mother was not convinced. And during this treatment period, the baby girl died. And she was buried also. But there was order of exhumation. The baby girl was exhumed. And she was brought to us because it was belonging to our neighbor hospital, Safdarjung Hospital. So obviously they thought of we get the postmortem done at the AIIMS hospital by a board of doctors. So during that time, we got the baby after 5 days of burial. And it was you can say, May period, very heat was on and the decomposition was very fast. We examined the baby. And then in those days, we were not very well acquainted. We were acquainted with DNA profiling being done, but we were thinking what to do. First, we do the blood grouping. That is the absorption elution method. So we found that the blood was not matching with the mother. Then we preserved the samples, especially the psoas muscles from paraspinal region, because these are the muscles which remain intact even in a decomposed bodies, the paraspinal muscles. Then we took out the muscles and some organs which were there and parts of the bones. We sent to the CDFD because that was the only center who was carrying out the DNA profiling at the time. So after 1 or 2 months, we got the report that the baby child does not belong to the mother. So that was the first confirmed case we encountered in our All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and the credit definitely goes to Dr. G.V. Rao and Dr. Lalji Singh, who reported this case. And the second encounter we had a Lajpat Nagar bomb blast in 96, where the 13 civilian died and 39 were injured. So we did not have much problem in 12 cases, but in one case the 4 claimant came for the body, because there was a compensation of 5 to 10 lakhs was allowed by the LG. So to seek the compensation, the 4 families started claiming that man. And we were in a fix, even our police, to whom to give the body. Then we took the samples, sent to again CDFD, and they got the biological paternity confirmed. And then after 5-6 months, we had to keep the body and then hand it over to the relatives of the right biological parents or the relatives of the deceased. So that was the second case which we encountered in DNA profiling, which confirmed. Now, paternity disputes, we were having the regular services till last few years. We started our own DNA center, especially for the academic purposes. We had 1 scientist and 2 technicians. But somehow it was just serving the purpose for the academic purposes and research, not taking the regular cases. Only some paternity cases were taken. Especially we used to take the paternity cases after the court directions. Otherwise there was a lot of queue. Out of 100 people, at least 20 people are doubting whether this child belongs to me or no, because of the extramarital relations in every society remains 20 to 30% in the adult population. So that's a huge problem. So we just categorize only after the court affidavit and the direction of the court these cases will be dealt. So we got not many cases about this. Then interesting case in 2009, my senior professor Dr. Dogra did and his team. In JNK, because there is a hatred toward the law enforcing agencies and our army. So 2 young female, one Nilofer Jan and Aisha. The Nilofer was the bhabhi of that younger girl. They were crossing after they taking woods and things from the forest. They were crossing one river. And especially you might have heard in Manali area, JNK area, there is a cloud burst. And sometimes there is a sudden cloud burst and a sudden flood is there, flash flood is there. And then even the water goes up to many meters. So they were washed off. And bodies were recovered about 1 kilometer from the site where they are actually crossing the river. Issues for DNA profiling. It has to be clean. For doing every case, that's why we recommend in every mortuary, at least there should be 3 tables. And one should be a clean table, very dry. Then you put the fresh bed sheet, and whenever you are sampling, whatever dropouts are also there, you pack them separately and take the material on that clean table with a clean instrument every time with all protective measures, especially at your DNA, your hair, your skin does not contaminate the tissue. Because contamination is a big problem to the scientist. They have to put a lot of labor. And it's a wastage of time and resources if the sample is not proper. Because if you send a garbage, what will come out? Then by frustration they write insufficient sample, sample autolyzed, decomposed. That was the usual words we encounter at times. Then precaution and other contaminants, because basic rule is clean instruments, take protective measures of clothing, cape, mouth cover, always dry. You know what, preserving a sample, you don't require much all hi-fi things. Though now safe kit is recommended for the sexual assault cases, that is for convenience. But where we are not having anything, any dry gauze of the cotton, any cotton wool, clean one, even ki kattar bhi kaam karegi, is more than sufficient. And in this regard, I think the Bill Clinton's case is very remarkable. On the towel, even after 5 years, his semen stains were detected. After that, he had to resign from the presidentship, the president of America, after 5 years, So it helps, Even after many years in a clothing, if it is in a dry atmosphere and moisture is not there, the stains are well preserved. Then proper sealing and chain of custody, these are the things. In LLC cases, then we have the blood is the best samples. And in fresh bodies, we can get all variety of samples depending on the requirement. And in decomposed bodies, it depends what we have. Like this girl was having the living relationship, and somehow the boyfriend was not happy. He killed her, but she was detected only after 3-4 months. And he locked the flat and went away. And putting all this clothing over her, like she is sleeping. But once we examined that, this was the scenario. By looking at, you can find out the soft tissue which is completely gone. You can have this smothering and strangulation in this particular thing with the dupattas and a soft material. And even the legs were tied. Under any circumstances, she should not run away. Hands were tied with the wires. And this was the flat which has to be cut open by the gas cutter. And after, this was the bad actually. This is a reconstruction of a crime scene. In a crime scene, we don't expect the police to give much. Even one initial photograph of the crime scene, which now easily can be taken, because everybody is having a mobile and that is the cheapest mode, economical mode. Without disturbing the things, if the first shot is being taken and that is shown to the doctor, it settles so many queries. Otherwise, you have a lot of permutation and combinations. Everybody has a right to imagination. This could have happened, this could have happened. So this wastes a lot of time of the law enforcing agencies and the medical agencies. And unnecessary rumors comes in between when the time lapse is there and there is a delay in investigation. As you see this particular scene, the body was here, when recovered, even the maggots are crawling, and these are the inner garments. Panties, lower garments and upper garments, braceries. So this is the scenario by, you can have a look. This is just a close-up. But interesting thing, as Dr. Pankaj was highlighting the role of condoms. We had a bucket, outside, and this is the condom wrapper. And in this bucket there were many condoms, used condoms, which are dried up. That helped us. We recovered the DNA after sampling, and the boy, it was confirmed and associated. So that the dustbin came for our rescue in this particular case, which confirmed the identity of the person. Now from dismembered bodies, depends. Like this is a case of the last month only. Behind All India Institute, we have a trauma center. And behind trauma center, we have a cremation ground. So there is an empty plot. So somebody disposed of a body in the night after cutting the genitalia, and the head was removed. The head was also found some feet away from the body. But in this particular case, the genitalia was removed. So that gives you the first intention. When all the male organs are being taken, there is a hatred, kind of a sexual jealousy, hate crimes. So it came to know he was like a Mason and was friendly with one lady. And they continued for 1 year, but after 1 year the husband got the news, if somebody is not giving, the neighbors never excuse, because they were keeping eye who is coming and who is going from this house. They informed to the husband, yes man, something is going fishy. So one day he called his friend and asked his wife to invite him. And after providing drinks and all, they murdered him. And they disposed of the body separately. Now in such cases, though, by anatomical approximation, you can clearly tell that this head belongs to this particular person. But sometimes the animal complicate our job. They eat away the soft tissues. Then in such cases, the DNA profiling matches from the lower part of the body and upper part of the body, or a different part, is very essential in this regard. Like this gentleman, he was an alcoholic addict and used to beat his mother and father when he did not get the money in the nearby area, in Delhi area, NCR area. So one day the father got very infuriated and he killed this boy. And he was mason, tile cutters नहीं होते जो टाइल लगाते हैं उसमें. So he chopped off his body by the cutter and disposed of in different parts. So in these cases, though by things you can tell it belongs to one body, so X-ray and doing DNA profiling is mandatory in such cases. Taking the clean tissue, because once you are getting from the debris, from gutters, first of all, to clean the part, especially with the normal saline and normal water. At least you get the inner tissues, the bones, which are less contaminated. Then you can preserve accordingly. The clean body and dirty body, that depends. So we have to provide the best sample what we think. So from burnt bodies is actually the external features is very not identifiable. And sometimes we find a charred and a completely roasted body. The DNA profiling becomes very difficult after 400-degree temperature because most of the protein tissue get denatured. But still there are some tissues like a teeth, again the paraspinal and psoas muscles, and a pelvic region organs, especially the prostate, uterus, they come to our rescue, even the pelvic bone also. So in these circumstances we can take help of this, and these are very helpful in fact. Because recently I think last week only on a Mathura road we have a highway. So one person thought of the claiming of the 3 crores insurance, got hold of the 2 neighbors and he took them to Taj Mahal for a sightseeing, and while coming back they provided them a good liquor and put both of them in the car and burned the car by claiming the false death certification that these 2 people have died. And because the law enforcing agencies became suspicious, there was a recent insurance and now suddenly the 2 people have died, both of them together. Then the DNA all came to rescue and proved that these are the different people. They took the neighbors and burned them. So this is from the sucking or love bite marks. You can take the swab is being taken and the nail clippings. Especially we need a debris. It may be skin, it may be tissue fibers, it may be the clothing fibers which may be in the nails stuck up. And pubic hair combing, especially for the foreign hair, if we have anything, especially, then plucking of hair. At least 10 to 20 hair samples are required, especially with the root for a DNA profiling. Then condom material. Even the wrapper of the condom is helpful in identifying the chemical which is being used for preservation. And in a contact swab, sometimes we get that material, we can just say the approximation is there. It may not be absolute, but the circumstantial. information that there was a rave party, and after that I don't know, I was raped by the people. So these sampling required for screening of these substances of antihistaminics, animal tranquilizers. Like, this is by look itself is a clear, it's a case of a gang rape. This lady was going home after 10 p.m. and there was some isolated patch of the land where she was going to the bus stand. So she was captured by some gangsters and they raped her, and once she threatened, then there's a blindfolded and murdered this lady. So that's a clear, and evidence can help. You can see the personal effects and personal belongings in this particular gang rape. Like this case, we have a Kalkaji temple in our South Delhi area. So when the metro was coming up, near the pillar, we found one body in the morning like this. And by the look of the body itself, it is very clear. What happened ki this girl was in a commercial sex. So she was hired by the two drivers. But when they were in the process, there is a lot of huge parking area. The other drivers also joined the queue. Oh no, fukro ki line lag gayi. They did not want to pay. There was a dispute. And she was exploited by all natural orifices. And ultimately they murdered her and disposed of the body near one pillar. So in this particular case, there was a lot of semen in all orifices, and it was a case of a gang rape. Once he was brought, 2012 case, but she was identified by this particular tattoo of Pashunath, Pashupatinath, you can say that, Nepali girl, and she married it first time, and I had hymen. So there was a bleeding, but now this is another interesting case. On one fine morning, we found like old TV, 29 inches or 32 inches वाले जो पहले आते थे, एक रोड पे कोई रख के चला गया. The beat constable was very curious. Yeah, what is this interesting thing? In the morning, I am getting a gift of a TV box. Huh? So suddenly, like in this particular case, the precaution which we took before touching, we sprinkled the powder for the fingerprints, because somebody might have handled, somebody might have lifted it, and we got the fingerprint on this particular thing. Then our whole forensic team is in the job. After taking fingerprints, then the body was taken out, and immediately this was the position of the body of the girl. You can see the upper garments, lower garments, and the panties. The condition itself is self-explanatory, and some bruises are also visible. And this was the typical look of a strangulation, manual strangulation with some decomposing signs. Like this is the body. Now started, after cordoning off the area, it should not be open. When we are taking the spot sampling, it has to be covered. The body has to be covered by these screens. And then sampling, immediately from the breast sample is being taken, and the vaginal samples were also taken. So, and this proved helpful in generating the DNA profiling, and incidentally, the DNA profiling matched with one police inspector. He was having the relationship with this girl and was exploiting. And within 3 years, he was hanged after proving the case. So that is the expedite, and that's the role of the absolute identification in the crime. Now this is the recent photograph by the CNN of our bomb blast of Pulwama, and these were the condition of the bodies of our army people, how they are littered all over, the fragments, intestine, hands, feet. So this was a recent case. This was the 1911, which we say the Bombay blast case. this was the condition, this kind of a material was used to blast the body. In such situation, the fragmented bodies, the tissues of the body, they pose a problem, identification. Here, like in this Kashmir blast, we did not have much problem. We know who is sitting, how many people are sitting, there was a list of the people, they were wearing uniforms. But whenever it is in a civilian area, there is a crowded, like a Sarojini Nagar blast we had. So it is in a crowded area, then it becomes very difficult, who is who, identity. Like we had a Chakri Dadri blast case, especially the air collision, where 350 people died. So in that particular incident, we did not have much problem because the bodies were almost intact, and there was a list of the people like who is traveling as we have the tickets. So there was not much difficulty, especially in burned bodies where there is a burning. Then it becomes this is again the Bombay blast case. You can see the fragmented parts. The law cases which have been settled, though Professor G.V. Rao will be discussing more, so I just go in a cursory manner. The maintenance cases, especially the disputed paternity and maternity cases, rape and murder cases which have been settled and the DNA profiling has been helpful. Murder cases, unnatural offenses, especially the carnal sex with the murders, assassination case and a bomb blast case. Maintenance case, these are the leading court laws by the Supreme Court. Puni Raman and Persis Manoj, there is a false promise. Like this one man made sexual relationship with one girl on the promises of the false marriage. When the child was born, he refused. Then the DNA profiling was done and it was confirmed the child belonged to that gentleman. So it was not a lawful marriage because by the lawful marriage one has to give the maintenance if it is a legitimate period. So still he was asked to give the maintenance for this particular child. Then Surinder Kohli and all, mainly from the serial killers, and Ram Singh and others, like Nirbhaya case, this also, the DNA profiling also helped. Murder cases like Sushil Sharma, Tandoor murder case, then these are the interesting Amir Kasab and the state of Maharashtra, and the Bombay blast case when 168 people died and more than 400 people were injured. So these are the cases, like this is one Sahib Hussain who killed one family on some doubt and then ultimately DNA profiling helped in this. Unnatural offenses, Anil alias Anthony Joseph, he exploited a 10-year boy. Assassination, the Rajiv Gandhi case is exemplary. The samples, as I told you, the procedures which they do out is mainly the first of the stains, then extract DNA, then magnifying and different techniques according to the time and progress. Measures as you seal the samples, labeling, procuring, labeling, then preserving, then putting your signature, identification, and then handing over to the right person in writing. Blood stains, depending on a dry stain, in by scraping, by swabbing, by scaling. These are the common methods of taking. FDA cards are available, especially the army people have started using. Muscles, though 1 gram is sufficient, but usually we recommend about 50 to 100 grams should be taken. And even organs in the early phases are very helpful. The kidney, liver, fixed effect STR mix, especially in the gang rape cases, nuclear DNA done from blood, hairs and semen. And references, these are the references which helped me in preparing this, especially FDI, FBI, then CDFD documents and the Indian Red Cross document for the, especially for the disasters management. So this is in brief about the sample preservation in these cases. Now it's open to any question which you can have. Even though we should take a different samples? No, actually ideally, it's a dismembered body disposed of. It's a dismembered body disposed of at different places. It usually happens in the crime. When a body is being cut, they try to throw it at different places. So one is our older method, anatomical approximation. But if the body is decomposing, so for absolute identification, nowadays we rely on DNA profiling. Because from every tissue, like every part, one small tissue should be done, all parts belonging to one person. So that becomes a necessity nowadays to prove a case with the absolute identity. नहीं डिपेंड करता है सर्कमस्टांसेस कैसे हैं. देखिए जहां मर्डर के चार्जेस हैं या वैसे चार्जेस हैं जहां आपको बियॉन्ड डाउट प्रूव करना है, वहां तो आपको रखना पड़ेगा क्योंकि उसमें आप कोताही नहीं बरत सकते. यू हैव टू टेक ऑल प्रिकॉशंस. अब जैसे बम वाला केस है, इसमें सब कुछ तो मालूम है भाई कौन मरा है, कैसे मरा है. अब ऐसे में क्या होता है, एक फ्यूटाइल एक्सरसाइज हो जाती है. सिर्फ इसमें हमें डीएनए जो लड़का था उसका करना एक बनता है क्योंकि वो लड़का वही है ना जो वीडियो में दे रहा है या उसकी जगह कोई और इम्प्लांटेड है. बिकॉज आज की डेट में आप देखेंगे कि मिडिल ईस्ट है, पूरा इराक है, ईरान है, सीरिया है, वो टीनेजर्स को यूज कर रहे हैं क्योंकि तो ब्रेन वॉश करना बहुत आसान होता है. एक हार्मोनल प्रोफाइल ऐसा होता है कि इस एज में ना थोड़ा भटकाना भी जो है इजी होता है इमोशंस को, और बाकी आगे पीछे का पता होता नहीं है जिंदगी का. So these are the easiest target for these terrorist organization. Now in India also we have come, like Kasab was there, 16, 17 years old boy. Now this gentleman also dropped, 11th class dropped out and he was being trained for 4 years. Right? So after the 4 years of training, he was given this job. So that is becoming a difficult part, especially in terrorist field. But it's a murder case, like when it's a one-to-one, these people are murdered and this person is murdered and being disposed of. It is always good to determine it with absolute certainty. नहीं, मैंडेटरी है कि आपने लैप्स किया तो क्यों किया भाई. अगर आपको मालूम है कि आज की डेट में डीएनए टेक्निक अवेलेबल है, हो भी सकती है, आपकी स्टेट में भी अवेलेबल है, और फिर भी आप जानबूझ के नहीं रख रहे, तो इट इज नॉट गुड ऑन योर पार्ट. इट बिकम्स ए मॉरल ड्यूटी एक्चुअली इन फैक्ट. हाँ, सिर्फ डिफरेंट बॉटल्स में. भाई वो कांच की बोतल ले ली, कांच वाली सबसे बढ़िया रहती है. नहीं तो वो प्लास्टिक जो रखते हैं, जैसे वो चिकन पैक करके रखते हैं ना, कुछ नहीं है तो वो भी चलेगा. कई बार बॉटल वगैरह मंगाना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है, तो जो पॉलीथीन है उसमें रख दो क्योंकि वो तो अंदर से टिश्यू ले लेंगे, बाहर की सरफेस से तो लेंगे नहीं. ठीक है ना. बाकी रामकिशन जी बताएंगे आपको कि वे सैंपलिंग में हमें क्या ध्यान रखना है. और पूछिएगा.
Thank you. Our forces are trained for this.
Yeah.
I'm sure you may be facing a lot of problems because all our police departments and everybody is trained to inform you fast, or they try to handle these things.
Actually, in the West, they have the local crime teams which do this job. And some people are well trained, some are not, some are little casual. So it depends on sensitization of the people. But if it is a crime investigation, is a team approach. It's not a one-man job. If somebody says I am superior, he is inferior, nothing like it. Everybody has a role and everybody has to integrate, then only we can find success. Because once there is a crime, there should be certainty of punishment. Until unless in this country we bring the certainty of punishment, this country can never be free of crime.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Murthy, for a nice talk, but it has created a number of discrepancies in my mind to my existing knowledge. So I would like to have your opinion. You said that some samples were preserved in dry ice, and when we reached to you, they were floating on it. So I don't think the dry ice gets converted into water.
Actually, we recommended dry ice, but they were sent in a normal ice. जो नॉर्मल जो होते हैं ना बर्फ वाले कुर्सी वाले लगाते हैं. Second, you said that you are not receiving or accepting the routine samples of medical legal cases from the police in AIIMS DNA lab. And you have solved a number of cases, Nithari case and all that, right? So I would like to know whether the AIIMS lab is accredited or not. Has it got accreditation from NABH? You know, जो निठारी वाले केस थे, उसमें जो हमारी लैब और CBI FSL we have in CBO complex, our lab is not accredited. Then another point, because I want to clear certain points. Okay, I got it. So in this, Dr. Mahapatra, who is working in the forensic science laboratory CBI, he was the instrumental person who actually developed the profile in collaboration with Dr. Okay. Second, you said the seal was found intact from all the way, right? So there was no breach in the chain of custody. So to my mind, I don't think seal is intact. The only seal is intact proves that seal chain of custody was not broken, because there may be manipulation at different levels. No, you see, once the sample was taken and it was sealed in a proper container, that container is intact. And at no place of time there was a request for resealing it or putting another seal or taking it off. And then the scientists who received the sample in the laboratory, they also confirmed that whatever the sample we got, that was an intact position. That is the meaning. Yeah, but the chain of custody means not only the sealing, but the sample has moved in different hands, and that has to be documented.
Please, may I intervene? Sir, we'll take this discussion.
Last. You said that alcohol can be used for preservation of certain soft tissues, but to my knowledge, for soft tissues, the saline is the best.
I think we will learn more about it in the sir's lecture.
वहाँ बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आती है.
Right.
I think it's better to stop this discussion here, because in the next session Dr. Ramkishan will be taking care of all these things. So it's better to leave this discussion now.
Thank you, Dr. Murthy, for sharing us your experiences with us, the different cases of interest related to DNA sampling. And now I think I request you to be here for 10 minutes. We have a presentation from Mr. Abhijit Gade from High Media. High Media company has actually helped us and provided us with the infrastructure to have your hands-on workshop that we are arranged here for you, and we would like to hear their presentation on the extraction of DNA. Thank you.
So there was a notification that confirm yourself whether you are actually child of your parents or not. I don't know. It was a that means they were having some STR markers, and they asked actually, and they did it for free. So at least in India, I think it's not permissible by law. I guess actually. So
if you want to do, you can do it. Oh, you're right.
No,
stop doing that.
No, sir. Just on a lighter note, actually, I shared this because I found it. I mean, who will do this? So okay. So starting with our. So thanks for your advice, sir. So. Again, coming to our technical session, we have actually planned for technical sessions today and tomorrow, where we will be extracting DNA from different forensic samples, and we will be setting up PCR as well as real-time PCR assays, just to confirm whether we have extracted proper DNA from all the forensic samples which will be provided to us from AIIMS Bhopal. So during the session we will be doing automated extraction. We will be using an automated extraction system, a real-time PCR. We will be also performing a manual based extraction system. So to start with, I'll just brief you about this Insta-NX which has been designed and developed by High Media Laboratories. So this is a fully automated system where we can perform fully automated system where the extraction is completely based on a column based technology. That is the same silica columns which we generally use for a kit based method, that is manual method. So there is as such no addition of any foreign material, that is kind of a magnetic beads. In most of the cases it is done. And then the system is completely independent to perform the assay. So each individual samples will be provided separate solutions and buffers to extract that particular sample. So the trinity is created between the column, the tip, and is actually attached here, so that there will be no contact of any sample to the actual nozzle. Apart from that, the system is independent for which can have its own which is having its own UV tube, just to do the sterilization process, so that after the process you can actually put on the UV light and the sterilization of the instrument can be done. So, next. So the DNA actually will be getting bind to this silica column here, and the solution will be passed through these columns. These are the buffers and reagents which are provided for each individual sample that are placed. This comes with a pre-filled cartridge actually. These are the heating blocks which will be used to do the incubation. This is the tip which is provided, which will be part of the trinity. This is the column, and this is the adapter which will be used as an extra filter. And this actual protocol we will be performing with all these adapters, the columns, in the next room right beside this. So where we will be actually processing the samples and then setting up the PCR. So this is an instrument where 12 samples can be processed. We just need to place our all 12 individual cartridges separately, individually in this block, where a heating block is there. We place our samples here, and also the elution tubes are provided with the kit. So the eluted DNA will be collected according to what dilution we require. So that can also be done. Either you can, whatever samples you want to perform, mostly for forensic, we have a kit where all the samples can be processed apart from the bone sample. For bone samples, of course, as you know, it's very tedious to process the sample. Although for bone also, we'll start the process today, and we'll be doing the actual bone DNA extraction tomorrow. So for any kind of sample, initial sample is collected, and then after addition of lysis solution, the sample tube will go to this column, and then further it will be processed by the instrument. So during the process of 60 to 65 minutes, there will be no manual interference by any chance with the system or with any kind of samples. Next. So this is how the columns of the cartridges are placed. Whether you want to perform extraction for one individual sample or all the 12 samples together, you can use this. The number of samples will represent number of cartridges that we will be setting up. So there will be absolutely no wastage of any solutions for this particular assay. Then next will be selection of our protocol, whatever protocol that we are going to process, and then we will be getting the protocol is actually pre-installed. We just need to select the kit that we are going to perform, and the procedure will be started. Next one. So these are the different, whether we are doing any manual based protocol, any automated extraction, or any kit based protocol, the basic principle remains same, that is lysis, binding, and elution. The same principle is done here: lysis, binding, and then elution of our DNA. And even for some of the instruments, the centrifugation is part of the automated system. So there is a manual interference is required when we perform this extraction procedure. So to overcome this, this InstaNX instrument will make sure there is no manual interference. So batch to batch variation or sample to sample variation or repeatability and reproducibility is properly taken care while performing assay in this InstaNX system. So total time to extract the DNA will be 60 to 65 minutes once we place the sample in this instrument. That's it from my side. If you have any queries related to sir, it will vary from sample to sample, but from blood sample it will be from 2 to 10 micrograms, sir.
Per microliter?
That is total yield of the sample. When we take 200 microliter of our actual initial sample.
If you take 200 microliter of blood, you get how much of DNA?
2 to 10 microgram.
Blood.
For blood will vary between 400 to 600 rupees, sir.
Per sample?
Per sample.
Whether it is tissue or anything?
Tissue, bone, anything.
Two things I would like to add. First, thanks AIIMS for collaborating this event and supporting us for this program, number one. And there is one misconception. कोई चीज़ comparison हम करेंगे तो भले इंस्ट्रूमेंट किसी भी मेक का हो, there are different technologies available. So हमारी चीज़ अच्छी है, ये अच्छी बात है कहना, लेकिन दूसरी चीज़ खराब है, ये कहना अच्छा नहीं है. Like one point I would like to mention, he said that there are certain magnetic beads which are passed and those are said to be inhibitors in PCR and downstream application. So the technology which is being used in automation is the best technology. What we have is magnetic beads only. So this is not limitation because that DNA yield is more in when you use this magnetic bead. So the technology, this technology is good. But magnetic bead technology is also good. This is number one. And secondly, as he said कि कहीं पे लिखा हुआ था कि किसी को पता करना हो तो samples free हैं. हम लोग जो isolate करेंगे, आप में से जो भी चाहते हैं, if you want your profile, so isolate with this machine, give it to us. We'll generate a profile and we'll send you on mail. This will be free from X%. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Mr. Abhijit. Now, I would like to invite you all for lunch and request you all to gather in the seminar room again for hands-on workshop by 2 p.m. We'll meet here again, we'll be divided into groups and then we will start the hands-on.
Two choice to collect the samples, a body is there. So first of all we have to take the long intact bone because compact bone having the good chances to obtain the DNA profile. As we know, this technology is sensitive, we know, but here we have some limitations. So if the preferably option is there, so some samples should be taken in a twice, just like finger, tibia, humerus, teeth and ribs. Whatever we have available, we have to recover, but if we have choice, then in this sequence we have to collect and preference. If tooth is there, then we should to prefer molar tooth. There is a good chance to collect, to recover the good quantity of DNA, that's why. In other case, suspects, from suspect we have to collect these exhibits, clothings, nail clippings and nail bed clippings. Here nail bed clippings and nail bed clippings is also important, and blood sample is a reference sample. From crime scenes we have to recover such as weapons, blood stains and any other exhibits which is useful for the crime investigation. We have to collect in a proper way. Maternity, paternity dispute cases and baby exchange cases, we require blood samples of mother, child and suspected biological fathers. These 3 persons samples we require, and identification of deceased, unidentified body, human remains, we need remains of unidentified body and also reference sample from the close relationships such as mother, father, children, whatever will be available here, biological relationship for it. Now, third section is there, how we have to preserve and pack the samples which are suitable for the DNA profiling. What precautions we have to do followed in this step. Liquid blood sample is there, then we have to prefer the liquid blood sample to collect on FT card. FT card is a very important for preservation of liquid blood sample. It is a cellular gas simply which is chemically treated and we can store the blood sample on a room temperature. It's discovered by Flinders University of Australia, and many other branded nucleic acid storage cards also available in the market. So this card is used for the controlled liquid blood sample preservation. And if we do not have the FT card, then 1 to 2 ml liquid blood in EDT vial. We have to preserve the liquid blood into EDT salt. And if we do not have this kind of facility, then we have to take the blood sample on gauze also. But here some precautions. Gauze should be allowed to dry, completely dry. Then we have to send it for DNA testing. If blood stains is there, then we have to preserve in such a way blood stains which found on the clothing of deceased victim and suspect. Then these blood stains allowed to thoroughly dry at room temperature and wrapped in a clean paper and separately packed in a cotton cloth bag. And if the stains are present over the unremovable object, just like a floor, wall, very heavy thing is there, then simply we have to scrape the stains with the help of scalpel blade and remove these stains in the white paper, then wrap and pack into the paper envelope. If the stains present over the weapons such as firearms, bullets, and some small objects such as utensils, stones, bricks, etc., then these whole objects should be allowed to dry and sent to the laboratory for DNA test. And if the stains present over the vehicle, upholstery, carpet, wallpaper, food, etc., then this part, the possible part of the stains cut and allowed to dry and pack separately into the cotton bag, which used to be also liquid blood sample, but it can be used for different purpose also. And third is different color, this saliva sample card. For different body fluid, there are different cards is available in market. Second, in third picture you see how we collect the blood sample on FT card. We have to take 1 to 25 microliter blood by syringe and put in a circled area. You see, in last picture, the circle should be filled with the blood and one circle should be like dotted to apply. So there will be less chance to oversaturation. This dotted spots prevent oversaturation of the FT card. So there is a good preservation for blood sample. Vaginal swab, anal swab, oral swab, urethral swab should be taken in these types of the swabs which are available in the market. These swabs having special features is that they are having the air dry packets which allow to dry the swab and having a space where we can write a full description of the samples. And swabs never be taken in wet condition and they should always be allowed to dry and pack in paper envelope. And swabs should be always prepared, vaginal smear, vaginal, anal, oral, urethral smear should also be prepared. Always these smear allowed to dry, then wrap in a clean paper and pack in a paper bag. This is a blood sample collection kit. You know, it is a complete collection kit which used for the blood sample, having pair of gloves, alcohol swabs, FT card, pricker, FTA storage pouch with desiccant. This is a complete kit. We can take the blood on FT card, allowed to dry the FT card, write the description on FT card, then put the FT card on the FT card storage pouch with the desiccant and seal it in paper envelope. Then send to laboratory for DNA test. Now, issue, organ and fetal remains is there. Then we should to preserve these samples in a clean sterile glass jar with normal saline solution. Always be preservative use, these samples should be preserved in a normal saline. Never be used formalin for this type of samples. So clean sterile glass jar with normal saline, this kind of samples we have to preserve. Now bones and teeth, if we have bones and teeth, then clean and wash the bones to remove the debris first and allow to dry, wrap them in paper, roll in paper, then seal in cotton cloth packet. Then send to for DNA test. If dry tooth is there, then put into glass vial also, or paper bag also, or cotton cloth bag also. If we found these kinds of samples of burning cases, then whatever we recover, we have to take all kinds of samples in there. And these samples we have to put into the cotton cloth bag, then seal it properly, proper documentation, then send it to the laboratory. We know that as material is not suitable for the DNA test, but whatever we have to try it is available DNA or not. So everything which we recover from the scene of crime or evidence material, we have to send it laboratory for DNA test. Yeah. We got the result, this kind of sample. That's why I put this slide. See here, this Petrus region is gold mining of DNA. So this is I think we got the DNA from this region. Temporal bone का जो Petrus region होता है, which is very compact, and we got good quantity of DNA and established the identification of this case. So this see here, we got the complete bone skull and bone pieces is there, but we got the DNA result from this sample. These samples, sometimes sternum also they take, but it's not good for the DNA test. But it's easy for you, just cut down and take the samples and send to officer. But when the numbers comes at our examination level, then it's completely purified. We have a lot of problem. We got the result from sternum. I'm not refusing that, but we have some जैसा सर ने बताया था पंकज सर ने कि आप हम लोगों को चैलेंज दे रहे हैं कि करके देखिए, हम करते हैं, रिजल्ट भी आते हैं, बट वी आर जस्ट एक्सप्लोइटिंग आवर टाइम्स एंड जस्टिस सिस्टम में डिले कर रहे हैं अपन कहीं ना कहीं. So if proper sampling is there, as my decided my topic, कि if we have proper sampling, then we give the results in quick time. So proper sampling is very important and preservation is also. If we have hair is there, then take the hair with the help of forceps, pack in paper envelope. If the hair found attached with any object, just like weapons, and we should not remove the hair from the entire substance. If the entire substance is very small, then substance should be object should be packed in the cloth paper and sent to the laboratory. If object is very large, then pick the hair, allow to dry it, wrap in a white paper, then seal it in a paper envelope. So it's depend on whatever we have. And we do not wash the recovered hair. Sometimes the hair washed with the normal saline and then sent to the DNA laboratory. We can solve a case with the help of two profiles in a single hair. Hair is single. How we have two profile. So a source of the hair identified by the root, but the blood smear present over the hair, which is different profile, which link with the suspect. So sometimes some smears which is not seen by the naked eyes, but this different profile also helpful for a particular case. So hairs such as, and in earlier presentation, sir taught that pubic region should be combed. So first patient allowed to stand on a white paper and comb thoroughly the pubic region. If foreign hair found on the body of victim or suspect, then they should separately collect and pack in a paper cloth or a paper envelope in such a way. These are some for this combing of the hairs. Now, it's actually dried, so we can everything along with if desiccant we put here, so there is no chance to get moisture is there. So actually में we receive actual cases there, तो इस तरह से नहीं आना चाहिए था, but we receive those this such kind of case exhibits in our lab.
To answer the question, अगर हमारा एक कोई रूल है ना, तो that is never applicable to all kind of samples.
Like अगर हमारे पास कोई गीला exhibit है, तो it is always suggested that don't pack it in polythene. But अगर आप उसको other way देखिए, if you have some dried, then polythene is a better option because it will secure the sample. Okay, isn't it? So a single rule cannot be applied to all variety of sample. This we must keep in mind.
Thank you, sir. So basically कि अपने पास सैंपल कैसा अवेलेबल है उस पर डिपेंड करता है कि हाउ वी प्रिजर्व. वेट है तो फर्स्ट वी हैव टू अलाउ टू ड्राई, देन पैक इट. These are some accessories which is very helpful in medical legal examination for combing, nail scraping, cutting, whatever we do. Packaging and forwarding. Packaging and forwarding is very important aspect in legal system. If properly not packed and properly not forwarded, then integrity will be questionable in the justice law. So, following documents we need or we require prior to DNA test: properly sealed packet. We accept only properly sealed packet with standard sample seal. These two very necessity. Now we have annual letter, medical officer's letters having proper description of the samples, whatever he collect, and with proper query, what he want to do this. So these two important aspects from the doctors, and one more important document along with the forwarding: identification form, from whom we are getting the reference samples. So identification form is must. What format of identification form I will show you next slide. And medical examination report, it is not mandatory, but sometimes it's helpful for us. And one more certificate, handing over certificate. So what samples you hand over the IAIMS, police, likewise, for proper chain of custody. To maintain the integrity, each and every step should be properly documented. That the donor has not received the blood during 3 months. It is very important aspect. And any kind of genetic abnormalities is there, so there is some description is there. So we have to write all these parameters which formed by our laboratories. It is the use for our laboratories. It is the model form, and this kind of identification form we receive. On the seal we receive the donor signature. Medical, if the medical board is there, तो both the doctor और three जो भी medical board में doctor होंगे वो सब sign करेंगे, and witness होगा इसमें, जो दो witness जो भी होंगे sign होंगे, and IU will be signed here. It is very important document for the proper chain of custody. Here are some amendment in the law. Section 53 and Section 54 is amended, and in 2005 they added as 53A and 64A. In this, the sample for DNA test taken is made mandatory in 2005, and these two insertion is there, 164A and 53A, where the samples for DNA test should be taken along with the proper description. तो पुरानी कहानी है, राजा सोलोमन हुआ करते थे, मेरे गुरुजी जो आज यहाँ बैठे हैं वो बताते थे, मैंने उनसे सीखा है कि राजा सोलोमन के सामने एक लेडी आई, बच्चे का कोई डिस्प्यूटेड मैटर था, 2 लेडीज ने अपने बच्चे पे उसका क्लेम किया कि ये बच्चा मेरा है, और दोनों ने ये कहा। तो राजा सोलोमन के सामने बड़ा अजीबोगरीब क्वेश्चन हो गया कि ये मैं किसको दूं, क्योंकि उस टाइम टेक्नोलॉजी तो थी नहीं। तो ही वॉज वेरी क्लियर, बहुत चतुर था, तो उसने इंटेलिजेंस से उसको सॉल्व किया। ही सेड दैट कट द बॉल एंड टेक हाफ ऑफ बोथ द मदर्स। सो जो रियल मदर थी, इमोशनली उसने कहा कि आप इसी को दे दीजिए, बच्चे को काटिए मत। इन सच इमोशनली ही सॉल्व। बट दिस केस जो आप देख रहे हैं, ये दिस केस वाज सॉल्व बाय मी। एक 5 साल का बच्चा, 2 भाई होते हैं, खो जाते हैं, मतलब कहीं अपहरण हो जाता है, चले जाते हैं। 8 साल तक पुलिस उसको ढूंढती है, नहीं मिलते हैं। तो आसपास ये भी ढूंढ रहे होते, परिवार वाले नहीं मिलते हैं। तो सिरसा एक जगह है हरियाणा में, वहाँ पे किसी को इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलती है कि एक बच्चा वहाँ पे रेलवे स्टेशन पे वैसे ही उसी शक्ल का, जिसका नाम रोहित था, वो मिला। सो दे इन्फॉर्म टू पुलिस, पुलिस गोस एंड टेक द बॉयज फ्रॉम द रेलवे स्टेशन। तो जब वो पुलिस वाले उसको लेके आ रहे होते हैं, तो बच्चा सारी कहानी सुन रहा होता है कि कैसे वो बच्चे गायब हुए, कहाँ कहाँ उन्होंने ढूंढा, उनके घर वाले कौन कौन है, सारा उसने सुन लिया होता है। उसको सारे घर वालों के नाम पता होते हैं। उस कहानी के दौरान सिरसा से झुंझुनू आने का सफर 3-2 आवर्स जो भी जर्नी थी, उसके दौरान इस बच्चे ने सुन लिया था। इस बच्चे की एज होती है 13 ईयर्स, और जो बच्चे खोए वो भी 5 साल के थे, 8 साल पहले। तो अप्रोक्स इज देयर साइमल्टेनियसली, नाम भी उसका रोहित है, जो बच्चा गायब हुआ वो भी रोहित है। तो वो घर पे आता है, सबको पहचान लेता है, हाँ ये मामा है, ये मदर है, इनका नाम ये है। घर में बड़ी खुशियाँ छा रही होती है। दिस इज रियल केस एक्चुअली, मैं रिसेंटली आई सॉल्व्ड इट। एंड जब एक पहला बच्चा होता है ये, फिर दूसरे बच्चे को ढूंढने के लिए जब ये जाते हैं, तो सिरसा में एक गुमशुदगी की रिपोर्ट लिखी होती है, वो पोस्टर लगे होते हैं कि इस तरह से एक बच्चा गायब है। तो इनको पुलिस वालों को डाउट होता है कि ये तो वही बच्चा है जिसकी फोटो लगी हुई है। तो दे कॉन्टेक्ट ऑन द गिवन फोन नंबर। तो उसके जो पेरेंट्स है वो भी ढूंढ रहे होते हैं। तो दे केम टू दैट प्लेस एंड दे आइडेंटिफाई कि ये बच्चा मेरा है। बट ही डिडंट एग्री टू गो देयर, बिकॉज लाड प्यार में उसका बड़ा अच्छा सा उसकी खातिरदारी हो रही थी। इमोशनली ही डिडंट से कि ये मेरे मामा पापा नहीं है, मैं तो इन्हीं के बच्चा हूँ। ये एक्सेप्ट कर चुके होते हैं कि सबका नाम जानता है। फिर अल्टीमेटली केस गोज टू द बाल कल्याण समिति। तो दे डिसाइडेड टू टेक द डीएनए टेस्ट, एंड अल्टीमेटली डीएनए टेस्ट में ये बच्चा उनका नहीं निकलता है। सो एक इमोशनली वो केस था सोलोमन में, जहाँ इमोशनली सोल्व कर दिया था। और ये जो इमोशनली खुद बच्चा कह रहा है कि मेरे माँ बाप नहीं है, माँ बाप है। तो देखिए टेक्नोलॉजी का तो यूज़ है ही, और कैसे प्रॉपर यूज़ करते हैं। तो इट वाज सोल्व इन 3 आवर्स। वी गॉट द ब्लड सैंपल, लिक्विड ब्लड सैंपल, and FT card directly PCR and genotyping, and we gave the report in evening time because emotional was there. So this is very important case which solved. Thank you. And this was I think interactive. So if you ask any questions, so it is very much pleasure for it. Yeah.
So there are a few questions. Just number one is, as I learned from you that the preservative best that is used for organ is normal saline, as per you. Previously, I had a thought that it is saturated saline solution or normal saline in certain degree of temperature. That means in the cold temperature it is required. So I want this clarification from you. Number one. Number two. As per my knowledge, and I have heard in various other lectures and literature also, that premolar is the best sample to be preserved. Premolar, and second is canine. But you told it is molar. So that again there is some sort of confusion. So third is, as you told that EDTA, and madam also has raised some question about that. So can't we use sodium fluoride as a preservative? Because EDTA is an anticoagulant. So can we use sodium fluoride as a preservative for blood?
Actually, EDTA having filling agent, sodium chloride is मोनोवेलेंट और बायोवेलेंट का कंसेप्ट आपको ध्यान में ही होगा। इस पर एक्चुअली मैं बायोकेमिस्ट्री का इतना नॉलेज नहीं रखता हूँ, बीइंग ए फोरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट। EDT is having chilling agent with two monovalent sites is there, which bind with a positive ions. And sodium fluoride action whatever is here, I don't know actually.
ETA is an anticoagulant, that is for sure, and that is being used as a preservative also. Sodium fluoride is actually a preservative.
Yeah.
Can't we use sodium fluoride as a preservative?
If you see the guideline, global guideline for collection of samples, it is ADT.
Sodium fluoride is acceptable for alcohol detection. It is good for alcohol detection. No, but can we use sodium fluoride?
ग्लोबल गाइडलाइन है उसके अकॉर्डिंग तो एडिट ही है फ्लोराइड इज सुटेबल और नॉट आई डोंट नो एक्चुअली
Because for toxicological specimen, sodium fluoride is used.
ओके
For toxicological specimen, sodium fluoride is used.
No, right now we don't have answer, to be very frank. We'll have to see. But this may be a case because there are certain chemicals which are PCR inhibitors. So once you isolate DNA, then some part of preservative also gets transferred to PCR level also. Because DNA, whatever you add in your sample, that will maintain some quantity of that will maintain. Okay. So even if you say that
it is preserved in EDTA, that never means that you put your sample in EDTA while and it is for quite long this sample will preserve, because as he showed in a slide that even in EDTA while sample got destroyed. Okay, so how much time you have to keep the sample? Like all the guidelines are meant for instant analysis of sample within 10-15 days. But now if you have, by some reason, some or the other reason, if you keep your sample for a longer time, it will affect your sample drastically. It may affect. Okay, and what is the effect? There are many research which have already proved something and still researches are going on. Okay, but the thing is, whatever DNA is a universal method. Okay, so once you use a universal method, there are certain things which are decided globally, and if there is a guideline from a leading laboratory and like from FBI and then from CDFD, जिन्होंने हमारे देश का एक मेजर सेंटर माना जाता था, उसी से गाइडलाइन लेके बाकी सारी लैब्स बनी. So there is uniform procedure and it is set. But yes, your suggestion, I don't know, I don't have.
I'll give you a reference.
Next option, we may, instead of EDTA, if suppose EDTA is not available, we may use sodium fluoride. That is another alternate.
Chloride or fluoride, but fluoride induces apoptosis, and then there is damage to the DNA, apoptosis, cell death.
It causes apoptosis.
Yeah, in blood when you use it and damages the DNA. So you take down this reference. It's published in Biomedical and Environmental Sciences, volume 17, page numbers 217 to 222. It's open access, 2004 publication. Your doubt will be answered. The title is Effect of Fluoride on Lipid Peroxidation, DNA Damage and Apoptosis in Human Embryo Hepatocytes. That is done in human beings also. Right. So you read it, your doubt is clear.
And again, EDTA is also PCR inhibitor. Yes. This is also well noted. But if you put lower quantity and the sample is being analyzed early, so it won't affect.
And it does not have any impact because since last 15 or 20 years we all are doing analysis. So we don't see any problem by using this chemical, and the method is already standardized and approved.
The optimum you have to use is 1.5 milligram per ml of blood for EDTA. If you use more, that's what she was talking about, it causes 1.5 milligram per ml of blood. So these tubes you have is having 1 ml tube, you have 5 ml tube and that. So they add EDTA as per that recommendations, which is by International Human Hemogenetics group has recommended that.
Right now, we don't know how much, what is the exact percentage which is available in that EDTA vial.
If you read it clearly, there is a recommended amount of EDTA has been used. Okay, in the small letters, it will be there on the vial. Right. But thumb rule is 1.5 milligram per ml. I'm from legal side.
Are we
not authorized to get your reports, doctors? No. Why?
Judas matter.
So what? Because many a times we have been asked for the final query by the IO. It's not for DNA. It's not for DNA, sir. It's for general. Any report, like visceral report, maybe toxicological specimens. So we never get the copy of this toxicological report. Although we are being asked for the PM report, right? Our report is going to the toxicological labs, but we, in spite of asking many a times, we never receive.
You can ask for a certified copy from the lab issuing the report.
No one is issuing. No, we directly go to the court and for the first time we see the report because no, it's not for DNA. It's not for DNA in general because the reason why we require, sir, most of the time the IO comes to us to give the final report because we have given a case open because we were not able to identify any cause of death grossly. We have preserved toxicology, the viscera and all that, and then again when the report comes, they want us to give the opinion.
No, in certain, sir, may I add one point? You answer, sir, but I just want to add one point because what Dr. Manish is saying, this is actually valid because now with newer guidelines of sexual assault cases also, when we examine a victim of sexual assault, we give the provisional diagnosis just after examination, and the final report is only given when the examination or the analysis of FSL comes. And the IO brings that reports to the concerned clinician, and then he is supposed to give the final opinion, what was found in the spermatozoa, whether the case was positive for spermatozoa, what was the DNA analysis and all that. So the final report will be based on the reports received by the FSL only. So,
Dr. Manish, what happens, report is directly given to the inquesting officer, whosoever sends the sample for examination, report is dispatched to him, and the subsequent opinion is required from medical officer. It is the investigating officer who has received the report from the concerned laboratory will come to you to give final opinion. If they do not come with that report, you need not to give any final opinion. You can ask, you first bring these reports which I have recommended or samples I have preserved. So if you don't receive, so that because no, you need not to, no, because
where the doctors receive the sealed copy, Gujarat, if the people are
Gujarat will say that number.
Yes.
they receive the sealed copy, the toxicological specimen. So why can't we? Means that
yes, that is there. But what happens, there are different protocols in different states, right? Their government have decided this way. Our government has not decided this way, and there is no national guideline or there is no such thing in the IPC or CRPC. So you can't compel. So whatever procedure is laid down in your state, you have to follow that, right? So you have right to ask that report before giving any final opinion. That is all. If they don't, you need not to give final opinion.
so thank you. Thank you to the participants for being interactive.
One thing is that you said the extraction of DNA from the bones. So will you please clarify whether the compact portion is more useful or the spongy portion, the bone marrow or the spongy bone?
compact portion is more important.
Compact. And as far as drying is concerned, just for the audience, the drying on the flame of the heated object, it should be done at room temperature. Right? Not no heater or flame should be used. Because what happens, many doctors who are in hurry, simple is there, they put on the flame and so that should be avoided. This is
One more question. As you mentioned that one control sample is also to be sent. So what do you mean by the control sample? In any case, we are preserving one piece for DNA or something else, and we are supposed to send one more sample, like a control sample.
Reference samples should always be in a single, but forensic sample, if just like a bones और body से जो ले रहे हैं वो duplicate में होंगे तो ज़्यादा better होंगे, ये कहना चाह रहा था हम.
We are supposed to send two samples.
If
suppose we are preserving one femur bone for DNA analysis,
So femur bone is sufficient, but just जैसे एक दांत लिया आप, all skull is there. सर बता रहे थे सुबह कि हमको आपने एक दांत भेजा, एक टीथ भेजा, आपने एक टूथ आपने भेजा. अब if body is there, you have to collect 2 or 3 tooth. अगर हमने किसी सुबह आपको उसमें बताया था पंकज सर ने कि we got one sample, one tooth samples. If kind of mishandling is there in the laboratory, so we do not have any another sample of this disease.
Sampling is sufficient. Sample is sufficient.
Yeah. If complete bone is there, femur bone, we do not require any another samples is there.
We should learn that how much sample is required for DNA analysis. This we must appreciate. If I say that only a pin-like portion is sufficient, and you are sending this much more, you don't need to do this. This was sent for teeth. We should not send one teeth. Okay. And again, about your question regarding what teeth, any kind of, because there is variation. Okay. Now there are n number of publications, n number of books. Like he said, because of his experience. What he said is his experience. If I say DNA, that is in root. So अगर हम tooth को उखाड़ा और उसका root वाला portion नीचे रह गया, then DNA will not be.
So in that case,
Yeah, can I, Andrew? Yeah, I think what Dr. Prashant is saying is probably related to that we should have a kind of visualization that whether 1 to 2, and if more are available, why not more teeth? Why to just keep limited to 2, 3 teeth? There was another issue which one of the participants here sitting next to me also raised, which we often feel while doing an autopsy, and with this new upcoming thought on ethics of handling the dead body, the balance between when is the sample less, it shouldn't be less, and why to send more. So you're trying to strike a balance, why to send more and it shouldn't fall less. Now if we are talking of long bone, it means there is a process to remove it, but at the end of it, it also mutilates the body. It also kind of makes it deformed for the attendants to take back the dead body, to cremate it or to bury it. It is at that time while we are doing an autopsy where the attendants are outside and we are saying हम ये सब निकाल रहे हैं. We are collecting all this and sending it for investigation, and we are trying to explain this is the case and this is why it is required. So for the long bone like femur, we normally try to do, let's take it out from the lower leg of the 2 bones, tibia and fibula, both long bones. One is thinner one is relatively thicker one. So we normally take out one of these bones, and fibula, because it's thinner, it could probably make the leg look sturdier, and this would easily because you can do a vertical cut and then put it at a back side or something. And the tibia is exposed more on the skin, less of muscle tissue to separate it from, so it will be less messy, less time consuming. So those kind of thoughts or those kind of processes.
If you remember, he has shown a slide. If you have